Welcome back to Straight Facts. No, it's not. It's the Top 6 show on Monday. That started well, didn't it? That started well. That was about as good as Man United's goalkeepers in the last 7 days. It really, really was. We've got a brilliant panel for you today as we're discussing the fear that is coursing through the veins of Real Madrid ahead of their visit from Arsenal Football Club. Who would have thought it? The gimmicks are out. The Lucky Charms are out. They're banning the colour red in the city. We're talking on that later. We're looking at Chelsea, another embarrassing week. Are they finished in the top 4 race this season? Ruben Amorim threatening the Manchester United squad. Is it the right way to go about things? We're delving into that. Plus, big Ange. Should he be sacked? Should he stay? What if he wins the Europa League? And we're also going to have a little chat on Ilkay Gundogan, who's it went under the radar yesterday, but signed a new deal at City.
Oh, wow.
Signed a new deal at City for another year. So he'll be everyone. I missed. It's strange, isn't it, when you don't hear about City news? I don't know how that happens all the time, but yes, that came out 19 hours ago. That news came out. So yes, but viewers, please hit the like button. Please make sure you're subscribing. Get the bell notification turned on as well if you haven't done so already. What team we starting with today? We're not starting with Madrid. We're gonna cook Will a little bit later on that one and his team fannying about like they're Man United. But should we start with Chelsea? Can we start with Chelsea?
We can do that.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're starting with Chelsea.
As well.
I mean, look, Chelsea have gone from being 1 win away from going top 4 months ago to now sitting in 6th, sinking like the Titanic. Not being able to beat at home Ipswich Town, going 2-0 down. And these stats have come out today. I don't know if you all have seen them. Chelsea have missed the most amount of big chances in the league of 73. They have the second worst shot conversion rate in the Premier League, only 7.7% conversion. Only Leicester City's has been worse so far this campaign. There's a lot of people calling for Enzo Maresca to lose his job. But the question I'm going to throw out first of all is, how do we explain the wastefulness of Chelsea's attack?
The players on us.
I don't get how can you put that stat on there? Like, the stat is true. Like obviously the stat's true. How are you
That's
putting the
probably
stat
why you
there?
put the stat up there.
No. Let me just. How can you put that stat up, knowing it's true, and then putting the 50-year-old bald man on there? How does that make any sense? Why is Cole Palmer's face not on there, or Nicholas Jackson? At least some.
Hang on. You're cooking awful food. I didn't.
No.
They're screenshots of a tweet. I didn't make the tweet.
No. I'm not saying it's your fault. I'm just saying whoever.
You said you. You said you.
I meant.
Who, me or you? Who's me?
You.
Who's you? You're not seeing Russia, have you? You don't get it.
The person who put the tweet out. Why is my manager on there? That's not a manager issue. That's a player issue.
Okay.
Why is Maresca's face on there? What that tells you is that Maresca's cooking up wins and certain players aren't finishing their dinner. Why is his face there? Hey, I am. If any Chelsea fan truly believes that sacking Maresca is solving the problem, you're stupid. And and I say it with chest. 95% of football fans are stupid. 98% of Chelsea fans are stupid. I don't include the Terrace viewers in that because you're a bit intelligent if you watch us. But apart from them, the rest of you dumb. Why
other than Terrace viewers?
If you're not watching the Terrace, you can watch other things. If you're not also watching the Terrace, then you're part of the 95%. You got to be watching us as well. I don't get why my manager's face is on there, but this has been an issue at Chelsea for so many years, where we create so many chances and we just don't win the game. Because I didn't get to watch the whole game because I was in Cambridge playing my own match. Got back home, watched the highlights. I'm thinking, how am I not 5-0 up before they even score a goal? Honestly, it could have been 5-0 in half an hour, but somehow I'm losing. I don't get it. But people want to go at the manager. I genuinely believe this. I believe part of the problem is having stinky goalkeepers. It's not serious. When they're in training, putting it top corner, they know it's Robert Sanchez. So, of course, they're going to finish loads of chances in training. But when it comes up to when there's a Palmer in goal, for some reason, they can't do anything. That's part of the problem. We need better goalkeepers. But also, these players need to fix up and start finishing their chances. Because, again, game plan-wise, and I said it last year with Poch, I probably said the same thing under Graham Potter sometimes as well. These managers are actually coaching wins. These players are not finishing off what the coach has put in front of them. And that's a player issue. That's not a manager issue. So don't look at the manager, look at the people not finishing their chances. The manager can only do so much.
Why do you I know you've said that some of them are dumb. Let's put those people aside. You know, they're the people that Ricky Gervais called out and said that before having another referendum in England, you know, to decide a really important element of our country, take the labels off of bleach that say do not drink for 2 years, then have a referendum, because you might clear out some of the population a bit. So let's remove all those dumb people, right? Big up Ricky Gervais. There are still a lot of people today that are talking about players being played out of position, the slow nature of the play. He's trying to be Pep, and this is damaging the confidence. As an example, there's tactical issues, the confidence is being damaged, and therefore your attackers like your Sanchos, your Netos, Palmer now have been affected. What's your response to that?
Again, in spite of, you can think our manager has made 5,000 mistakes this season, and yet in spite of all of that, we should still have more points than we currently do. That I don't think anyone can sit here and argue that. That Ipswich game yesterday is a prime example of 3 points that we should have had that we just don't, and it's not in the league table. I know every team has those games, but Chelsea, I can name at least 4 or 5 games this season. I could probably do the same last season. I could do probably the same this season before, where it's just we're just not finishing the chances, and it's not as simple as let's go sign a really big striker for 100 mil because that will solve all our problems. We did that before and it didn't work. All right, so don't do that. But
when you say don't do that, I know it didn't work. You signed Lukaku, but that doesn't mean if you signed Osimhen for 70-80 million pounds, you wouldn't improve.
No, we'd probably improve. But if as a Chelsea fan, the way I look at it is I would sign probably 2 strikers instead of 1 and edge my bets on 2 of them. Hence why I like the Liam Delap thing, because it's only 35 mil or 30 mil, however much it is. Because I'm of the opinion if you sign 2 of them and then you see who actually can win out. That's what I would.
The real thing is Delap will be your number 2 striker, and there'll be a main striker, and that's fine. That works. And then cool. Jackson would be just Jackson. Cool.
However it works out. But I'm of the opinion you should probably sign 2 strikers because you need to just edge your bets at this point. Because clearly the person who's signing Chelsea strikers doesn't know what they're doing. I don't know whoever has that role, but they don't know what they're doing.
So the person signing the goalie doesn't know what they're doing. The person signing the strikers doesn't know what they're doing in terms of talent ID. Centre backs,
but you got the second best. But you got the second best squad in the league.
I was told
that's what you Chelsea fan said, David. That's what you Chelsea fan said, David.
No, Terry, don't tar me with that brush.
No, you have to. They're part of you.
I know they're a part of me, but you've got to at least say, David, to be fair, you said this, you didn't get on this.
Why does he have to say that?
Because it's true. And when you were all saying,
nobody cares about the truth, bro.
I can see what all of you were doing. I'm not stupid. This is why I've got a good degree. Yeah, I could see what all of you were doing. You were building us up. So just in case there was a bit that it didn't work out, you could tear us down as soon as
but you gave us reason to, David. Like David, we gave you all the chances to back out and in pre-season, but no, you like ignored us. You were like, no, second best squad in the league, new manager.
Didn't work. I'm not saying what you did didn't work.
Okay, yeah. Our plan was triggered by you guys. That's what I'm saying.
I'm annoyed at my own fan base for not realizing what everyone was doing to them, gassing up, talking about title race. None of us wanted that. We weren't even near it.
Manager didn't want it.
And he was right to say it. He was right to say it because you don't want to shove it on top of your whole squad, being like, oh, suddenly now we've got to win a title because title race means. We want to win that title.
David, David, your fan base forced us on this panel to be the bad guys. They forced us. They forced our hand. We didn't want this responsibility.
And
we
Will.
wanted to, yeah, exactly. Will, yeah, definitely a big culprit. It's like, yeah, Chelsea can win the league this year.
We were quite happy
he was on the bandwagon fully.
Yeah, I think most rival fans are quite happy to go, you know what? Chelsea got a squad that can challenge for the top 4, finish Champions League, build from there. And I'm sitting there in August on shows with Chelsea fans going, look at the pre-season squad. We've got a better squad than you. We've got a better squad than Arsenal. I'm going, whoa, we're fighting now. If we're throwing haymakers, I'm throwing back. And I only need to wait till January for your arse to fall out. Your manager to shit himself. Your players to shit themselves at every possible opportunity. And we're back where we are.
I got attacked on this panel for all my criticism for Chelsea. It's like I wasn't allowed to criticize them because I was an Arsenal fan. I was just stating what I believed based on what's in front of me.
If you criticised anything about Chelsea in the months of October, November, or December, the Avengers swarmed on you on a stream. A link would be sent out, and 4 of them would join on stream, and they go, "How can you say this about us?"
You'd say, "Look at this guy will pop up every time you mention a Chelsea player. They just turn up
like little meerkats in the distance."
Yeah.
Oh, it was horrendous.
But now, David, I'm sorry. You'd say,
you know what? I don't think Chelsea could win this title. All of a sudden, 3 of them join stream. Why can we not win the title? Look at the underlying numbers. Look at the stats. Look at Cole Palmer. Look at this. Look at that. Then you go,
best midfield in the league. Talk.
No, but they do all that. They build themselves up. Then you go, so you're going to win the title? No, we're not ready yet.
Hey, David, this could have gone very different. We could be on this panel bigging up Chelsea for following through with what we expected of them. Challenging of the top 6, but no, you lot ignored all that and just said no. Second best squad in the league, potentially in the title race. Yeah, so it's what we have to deal with now. And let's be honest,
Chelsea don't have a good squad though. I'm very.
Have confused. They signed a decent attacker in the last 5 years outside Cole Palmer? If so, name me him, please.
Nicholas Jackson is decent.
Pedro Neto is decent. He's just.
But Will, I wanted to ask you that. Will, let me ask Will a question. Let me ask Will a question here. You said we're acting like they don't have a good squad. What are you putting them currently being 6th and potentially dropping down as low as 7th or 8th? What is that down to, considering how good they were in the first half of the season? Because there has been a dramatic fall off in terms of points being won, goals scored, performances, individual players. If the squad is still, how you said it, a very good squad, is it just that everybody else is better than them and it's leveled out and you feel like the criticism is harsh? Or is it managerial, tactical? What do you put that down to, bro?
I put it down to the board members, whoever's in charge of making signings, because we all know what Chelsea's weaknesses were, right? We all knew that their defense was shaky, their goalkeeper was shaky, and we knew that in their attack, aside from Cole Palmer, they don't really have anybody that's clinical. They have a bunch of creators, but they don't really have people that can finish the chances that they're making. So for me, I think the January window, right? I thought that Chelsea were going to be a little bit more active in terms of trying to sign maybe like an established player. I think they're still going for too many young kids. And I think when you look at, like, for example, Cole Palmer, right? He's having a down season, but this is only his 2nd full season while being like a main player in the first team. So I just think like they do have a very talented squad. It's just inexperienced. And I think that their board is not doing the best job of building already on what they have, because it feels like they kind of want to keep building with more young players versus getting in more established players or more clinical players that can put away these chances. Because you look at it, right? Like Sancho's not a clinical player. Neither is Neto. Neither is Nicholas Jackson. Like a bunch of creators, but no finishers. And then their defense is just But in terms of like back when the season first started, to say that Chelsea have a very good squad, I don't think that was a very wrong thing to say. I mean, I know people like to go extreme with it, but yeah, for me, I just think their board needs to do a little bit better in terms of
they need experience. If no one to grab a game by the scruff of the neck, or no one to tell this player what to do, tell that player what to do. They don't have an actual captain. Like Reece James might have the armband, but he's not a captain, is he? He might lead by example in some of the things he does, but he's not going to start screaming when things go wrong. It's understudies leading understudies.
And then having an understudy manager as well that doesn't have to deal with dark times.
But is
loads
this
of
Maresca's
people
fault,
working
though?
for him.
I don't think that any manager in the world could get those players to finish those chances. I don't think it matters who's in
No,
that.
but imagine you went on work experience and the person that's hired you is on work experience. It's mad, no?
Yeah, but then let's say like if the person like who's on the work experience hired me to do a job that I'm just not good at, or let's say like their higher ups brought me in and now he's my manager. It's not his fault that I suck at my job. He didn't hire me.
Yeah, listen, I agree. I think there's definitely some criticism that needs to be put towards Maresca this season, but I just don't think he is accountable for the volume of chances that they've missed. I agree with David's sort of original point that he just isn't accountable. What I do think that we've all, like, I praised Chelsea's squad at the start of the season, and especially as they started going further up the league and said, look, it's looking really good. They're looking deadly. They're scoring goals. They look dangerous. Sancho started brilliantly. Jackson was scoring goals. Palmer was picking up where he left off from last year. For me, I think what we've realized is that they don't have a very good squad. They have some very good players. They have a lot of very good potential players. But when the going got tough this season, when the pressure sort of intensified, when they had that great start to the season, you saw a lot of players fold. And I think it's not a good thing for Chelsea in terms of this season. But where I do think it's a positive is I think you've learned a lot about your players. How do they handle adversity? And I heard Volkanovski say this at the weekend, and it was a great statement, which is if you have the ability to persevere and get over adversity, he said, persevere and get over adversity, it's a privilege. And that's obviously when you come out the other end. If you don't, then as a fighter, well, it's time to retire. I've had some bad fights. I'm not winning. I've gone through a great camp and I got beat again. It's time to hang the gloves up. It's painful. I think football fans can take note from that in this sport also, where you've gone through some adversity, where you've gone through some pain because players haven't performed. The pressure is intensified. They haven't delivered. I think it gives you answers. And I think too often football fans look at a football player at their peak, in their pomp, when the going's easy, like a fair weather rider. Very easy to ride a motorbike on nice roads when the sun's out. Very different when it's windy and wet. And I feel that what we've learned about some of Chelsea's players this season is they're not quite good enough when the pressure's on. So the good thing about that is you've seen some of them foul when adversity is set in. So you need to go out and buy better. That's not a dig. It's the truth. I know we do that in football now. Whenever Arsenal are questioned, I think Arsenal need a new striker. Well, they've bought 2 in the last few years, so they really shouldn't be buying another one. Someone said it about Matt in the group chat, said it about Man United when there's rumors we're going to buy a new goalie. Another goalie? Yes. Have you seen ours? We're not going to make these 2 better. You have to buy another one. So I think for me, when I look at Chelsea, they've just got to go out this summer, 4 or 5 experience. And when I say experience, I don't necessarily mean 29 years old. Players that have got a minimum 150 to 200 professional games under their belt have got to come in to help take them to that next level. They really need that, Chelsea.
Not just that, Terry. I think also they have to be born leaders as well in that. Because one thing over the last 25 years, Chelsea, like whether we're not talking about the previous years, but the last 25 years specifically, they built a sort of aura around them, an energy, and it like a level of around the Chelsea thing. And I think they've kind of, since Bowley's come in, the club's kind of losing that aura, that identity. Whereas, for example, if you see Nottingham Forest, their changing rooms after games, I believe that's the Chelsea changing room now after games. And I think that's crazy because it's all right for Nottingham Forest because they're overachieving, 3rd place, doing that sort of thing. But Chelsea think that their changing room can be like that now. But they've established themselves as a lot bigger of a club with better standards, and they need to somehow bring that aura back. So they need those older players with some leadership to kind of like, oh, you lot stop messing around, man. This is Chelsea Football Club. There needs some people in the team like that. I don't think there's anyone in there like that right now.
My only question is, I'm assuming everybody here believes that we're not going to finish in the top 4 or 5.
I can't. That was going to be my next question. I personally, unless your performances dramatically improve, and I know people keep saying results are all that matter, but your performances are not yielding the results. Unless your performances really improve, and a couple of the teams in and around you also have a drop off, you're not making it.
My question to you now is, if Chelsea were to finish in the top 5, would the reaction be, oh, fair play, you've made it? Or would it be, you should have been here anyway, overall it's not that great.
It depends who you're asking, David.
Yes, I'll answer. Yeah, I'll answer it this way. You set out at the start of the season to qualify for the Champions League, and you achieved your pre-season goal. So therefore, you would look at it and say, job done. I think again, I'm not a Chelsea fan. Chelsea fans can take it with a pinch of salt. I would still have a concern about that massive wobble in the middle of the season. That would be an element of your team that I don't think you could just ignore that because you ended up, especially if you come fifth, because the only reason fifth place has been good enough is because of how the other teams in Europe have done. So you can't rely on that every season. So I still think it's one of those things where I would say congratulations for getting it, but it wouldn't change how I think about how you need to improve next season. Does that make sense? Everything I've said about your improvements would remain exactly the same, whether you end up getting a Champions League position or not. The great thing for you guys is that your start to the season was excellent. And I would say that the likes of Villa, Newcastle and City, by their standards, had very poor starts. Again, that's not on you. That's just the nature of the maths of the situation. But yeah, I don't think much changes about my opinion of Chelsea if you end up coming in fifth place or fourth place. I still think you need to improve in the same way.
But would your opinion change if, in contrast, you was finished seventh?
Not dramatic. I mean, no, my opinion will pretty much remain. Everything I've just said now, I think, stays the same. If, for instance, your next 6 games, you get back to that November, December form and you look brilliant, that might change things a little bit because performances really do matter. And I think when the team is building, I think when the team is doing what Chelsea is doing, you're building, I think performances 3 years into a club rebuild are, in some degree, are more important than the results, because Chelsea are trying to get back to winning Premier League titles. And the only teams that ever win Premier League titles are teams that have consistently good performances. So I know that the results-based analysis has a part in the game, but I also think you have to keep studying the performance level. So yeah, my opinion on Chelsea now, whether you end up coming 4th, 5th, 6th or 7th, will pretty much be the same. You need higher quality, more clinical players with better finishing. You end up coming, I think your fans will have a different view though. I think your fans will see it differently, you know.
I do. The problem
is David and Terry, real quick. The reason why I would praise Chelsea if they finish 4th. I'm not talking about 5th. If they finish 4th, they've massively overachieved in my expectation. I saw them 6th. So if they finish 6th, I'm not going to diss them. It's what I expected them. But if they come out and finish 4th, they've overachieved for me. And if they finish either 5th or below, that's underwhelming because you sacked a manager because of that situation. But if you are able to finish 4th, the type of run you have to put together with the teams you're playing would be impressive. Like, no one could not be impressed. I think your next games are what? Fulham away, Everton, Newcastle, Liverpool, Nottingham Forest or something. So you'd have to go on a crazy run to guarantee that. So I would be impressed if you somehow pulled off top 4 at the end of this season with the fixtures you have left.
And I think it's a great question, David. I hadn't really thought about it until you said it. That's why we do these shows. I think you miss out, but you beat some of those teams, you narrowly lose to some of them, and you're competitive. That changes things. Whereas if you play your next 6 games and are comfortably and well beaten in all 6 of them, I just think there are a number of permutations that come out there, but AMT makes a great point here. He says the most big chances created, but not putting them away. That's why people are saying top 5 is in trouble. I don't know what you mean by the end part, AMT, but this is why also I would say as Chelsea fans, ignoring the problems they've had defensively, the mistakes defensively from Colwell, obviously the goalkeeping issues. And we are nitpicking a bit with Chelsea because Chelsea are a team with what they've spent and with their history that we would all expect to be challenging for Premier League titles or getting themselves ready to challenge for Premier League titles. Next year is year 4 of this rebuild. So, yeah, for me, it's a real important one.
David, I think that point is actually interesting in terms of Europe as well, because this year they've had the Conference League and the size of that squad meant they could effectively play 2 11s and they could keep a lot more people happy because there was going to be, you're going to play on Thursday against whoever it is. You'll get your game there. You might get 15 minutes off the bench and you can stay happy. Chelsea should finish minimum Europa League this year. You can't do that in the Europa League. You can't just have a separate 11 for Europa League. So a lot of this squad is going to have to be trimmed down and it's going to have to become more of a I'm going to say traditional because it's what we all see when we see our squads. More of a 25-man squad rather than what we're seeing at Chelsea, which is almost like two separate 11s, which occasionally mesh when there's injuries. That could probably, in my opinion, be the biggest difference in them finishing higher next year. Because they're actually playing the squad together. Because when they're playing in that Conference League, some of their best players could go and drop man of the match on the weekend. And then they're not playing again for another week. Whereas they want to take that momentum into a midweek game or into a cup game.
Yeah, it's a really good point there. Decay here says, David, why is Maresca telling his players to keep crossing the ball into the box? Who are we crossing the ball to?
So we should just stop crossing them. Brilliant. Well done. We stop. Chelsea should stop crossing the ball and we should just play it down the middle. That's what we should do. It's the system. It's what we do. That's how we create our chances. I don't really know what you want me to do with that. Again, if you want to talk about performance, yesterday, according to the website that I use, Ipswich created 1.6 XG. We created 3. Also, West Ham created 1.4 against Liverpool, and Liverpool created 1.4 themselves. However, so I'd argue that our performance overall was better against Ipswich than Liverpool was against West Ham. However, the results are different. So when we talk about performance, the actual performance yesterday, in terms of from a creating chance point of view, was actually very positive. Yes, the 1.4 XG against Ipswich is a bit of a joke because why are they creating that much? And that's a fair critique, but creating 3 XG, you should be scoring at a minimum 3 goals.
To be fair, as soon as Palmer comes back, you lot will be scoring again, bro.
As soon as that Palmer gets out of net, he needs to fucking Jesus Christ. That Palmer in net was a joke.
Yeah, he was very, very good yesterday. There's no doubt about that. Tom is right. Momentum is key, is what AMT says here. Maybe that's why it took a little bit of time for Newcastle to get going this year. I know they had the League Cup, but maybe until the season, the Premier League season, you don't start playing 2 games a week regularly as a normal, as a non-European side, typically until around December. So maybe that's why it took them a while. I'd love to ask a player that,
especially if your squad's so young as well. The highs are going to be higher and the lows are going to be low. So you want to maximize the high. So like Chelsea at the start of the season, I feel like they were still riding off the high of the end of Pochettino and the football Pochettino had them playing at the back end and the confidence he was giving them, because they ended last season as the 3rd best team in the country on form.
So based on saying that, sorry, Tom, but based on saying that, so you saying that Chelsea up until December, that was based on the coaching and the training and the quality of Poch, and everything since has been Maresca?
I think there's an element of that, yeah. I do think elements of Pochettino's was carried over to a point, and then once you started to see it, because it started to struggle a little bit in December, and then once it came to Maresca to fix it, I started to see different problems.
I'm taking that as Ruben Amorim's start is down to Ten Hag. I'm accepting that, bro. I'm accepting that.
But I come back that to a point though, because he's been left with a squad of players whose heads are so down. I've zero confidence in them. I mean, the game Ten Hag got sacked, your right back had the best chance and missed an open goal because that was the best chance you created in the game. That was the style of football. It takes time to get through that. And I think with Chelsea, it's just a lot more volatile because the age of that squad. So they were riding off all the confidence that they finished last season with, and they rode with that for months, and the atmosphere was very good. But you know how, like, we've all had good teams, we've all had experienced teams. When experienced teams lose a couple games, they'll shut up shop for a game or two, grind out a 1-0, figure out a way to just get over the line in a game to get a bit of momentum back. I don't think this Chelsea squad has that in them or had that in them.
The momentum thing goes both ways because we play in Europe and we get spanked every week.
Yeah, that's just because Ange Postecoglou doesn't do the whole tactical part of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw a clip today from Eric Dyer talking to Gary Neville, and Neville was like, so is Postecoglou the most tactically astute coach you've got? And he went, no, we never talked about tactics.
Like, it's just...
What's the point?
There's now talk of, like, I don't know if you want to move on to Spurs, but I was going to say about the whole Dominic Solanke thing.
I'd actually... Hang on, stop. You can't do that. You've got to explain to us what I'm going to teach you how to podcast here. You can't just go the Dominic Solanke thing and then say, you've got to go,
I was actually trying to get into it. So Dominic Solanke, obviously Richarlison, since January, has scored more Premier League goals than Dominic Solanke. And Dominic Solanke's played, I think, 4 times the amount of games he's played. He can't affect games, and he's not taking his chances. I'd actually drop him against Frankfurt and play Richarlison, and I can't believe I'm saying that. Like, it's a 120 million pounds on both of those strikers. 120 million fucking pounds on Solanke and Richarlison. And they've got 11 Premier League goals
with Matthias Tell.
Do you guys think
Solanke doing a post-match press conference? Why is Tell taking all the shit? Like, we just been battered to walls.
Tell probably wants, but no, Tell's fine. Tell wants to get himself out there in the market to be sold, mate. I wouldn't worry about that. All right. On the Solanke thing, do you think Solanke potentially had one of those anomaly seasons where he just scored a lot of goals last year, and in fact has just gone back down?
Like Michu did at Swansea.
Exactly. Welcome, Henry. You finally joined the gang. I've tried to warn all of you about this Solanke boy.
He had the season of his life in a team where there wasn't a huge amount of pressure. He wasn't playing in Europe. He was only playing 1 game a week. Where he was
look up. You rate him, man. Look up.
I do. I disagree. I think he's a very good player.
Okay, if you disagree, tell me what he can't. We create chances for him. Don't get me wrong. A lot of them are not clear cut. They're half chances, but he's not doing. He doesn't run the channels as much as he was at Bournemouth. His hold up play isn't as good as it was at Bournemouth, and he's surrounded by. Like, as soon as Maddison gets on the half turn and he's running towards that defensive line, Solanke does never bust the gut to get in behind to make a run. He's always stuck between the 2 centre backs. And then when you look out wide, you got Son Heung-min, who's leftwards, sideways, backwards, sideways, backwards.
Son Heung-min.
You're like, the club's a fucking disgrace. And then when we've just been battered 4-2 by Wolves, instead of getting the captain out, instead of having Son in front of the camera, or Maddison, or Romero, you're putting a lone player out there, and the interview is grilling him with questions, or tells the one breaking up a fight between Ange and a fan. The club is actually a fucking disgrace. Like, we could be 17th on Sunday. If West Ham beat Southampton, let's be honest, they will. And if Forest beat us, let's be honest, they will. We're 17th. 7-fucking-tenth. That is embarrassing. He's actually to the point of where...
See, David, why couldn't you do the decent thing and lose to Ipswich so I could have had at least half of
Henry, are you sure you can't just like 16th is bad, and that's still as bad as 17th? Can you not get a draw out of Nottingham Forest? I need it.
I'll be honest, I think they'll steamroller. I think they'll come and win 2 or 3-0.
But Henry, do you know what this is beautiful this season? Do you know why? And I want you to hear me out. Because we, as a football world, might actually get some realistic expectations from Spurs fans this summer. Like, from finishing 7 teams, you might talk about just getting back into it, and then you can work your way back. And then maybe we learn from the previous 10 years. Overhyping certain situations might not be the way to go. We don't have the best left back. We don't have the best keeper. We don't have the best.
Well, apparently, your doggy's now going to Man City. Like, they're sniffing around the Athletic.
He's definitely not going to Man City, bro. Don't worry about that.
Pep's a big fan. Who gives a player a new contract after 8 games and then tweets out "Happy Destiny Udogie Day"? That is a fucking disgrace.
Tottenham Hotspur don't know how to act like they've been there before. Tottenham Hotspur don't know how to act like they've been in that situation before.
I'll be honest.
Still hold on to those 10 games. Those 10 games was the reason Postecoglou was still in a job 2 years later. 10 games to start a season. Well, you should have lost 2 of them.
Solanke scored 4 less goals than Havertz, and he's been injured for a while.
Yeah, like
I don't actually like that would actually make me so angry, if I saw that.
I feel like I want to smash my flipping house up. And then the football club.
Hang on, you could. I've seen you kick a chair. You couldn't smash anything
right now. And look at the tweet they put out of their TikTok of players moving tea bags from a box to a cup and playing this Chinese game. The day after, we've just had our fucking 17th defeat of the season.
Did they not want to play as well?
do you mean? You're back, baby. You're back. You told us you were back.
That, right? Every single fan singing that is a disgrace. We've got what is Tottenham back? We haven't won a fucking league title since the 60s.
Well, I saw you in there, Henry.
We haven't won an FA. Yes, you didn't see me in there. We haven't won an FA Cup since the 90s, and we haven't won a League Cup since mid 2000s.
Wait, like Henry, let me ask you a question, brother. Like, what exactly are you upset about? Like, this is Tottenham that you support. Like, I'm just really trying to figure out.
Calls you brother,
it's like,
what I'm about. His arm around him.
They treat the fan base like absolute see you next Tuesdays. They charge every single fan ludicrous prices. The season ticket prices are going up again. So the way I look at it, from a buyer's perspective, if you're buying something and you're being charged a very, very high price, and you're expecting something back, that's why I won't go anymore. Well, we've got the best stadium. Everything about the club, other than the footballing decisions, is world class. The training facilities, the stadium, everything else, the brand. We're the most profitable club in the Premier League ever. But when it comes down to putting some of that money back in, we get shafted year in, year out. And what I'm more annoyed about is our fan base are so fucking deluded and come out there. And I said I wanted Ryan Mason for the Frankfurt game. I'm being called a Chelsea fan or an Arsenal fan. You're not a real Tottenham fan. You're negative. Tell me what Ange Postecoglou has improved this season, apart from our L record.
I mean, he's going to break a record that he'll probably be the first team to ever finish 17th with a positive goal difference because you're doing it your way.
Well, hey, you gotta give it.
Round of applause,
everyone, man.
Round of applause.
Round of applause.
It's more expensive to get a Tottenham season ticket than it is at Real Madrid. The average ticket at Spurs is more expensive than Real Madrid. But when you walk into the Bernabeu,
because everyone likes an underdog story, though. We like to see Ipswich get the big day out or Leicester get the big day out.
Come down to the fucking lane and have the world's longest hot dog at the longest bar in the world and a beer that fucking fills up from fucking below. It's a load of absolute shite. And the problem is, me, myself, I am so much in the minority that the actual masses love this. They love the news. You go and interview a fan.
I mean, I love it.
On the concourse, and it's, look at our stadium. Look at the football we're playing. We just had our 17th defeat. Like that. If someone could bring up the Premier League table, I think only Ipswich and Southampton have lost more games than us this season.
And Leicester.
Ipswich, Southampton, and Leicester. Yeah.
So, at what point do we turn around and say, like, we have to be better than this? Like,
I hear you on that. When it comes to your manager and wanting him gone, do you think, and this is to the panel as well, has Big Ange been given the tools to succeed?
Not succeed. We haven't got. That's not a good enough squad to go and actually succeed. But that squad is better than 17th.
What do you mean? That's not a good enough squad to succeed.
What's succeeding at Spurs first?
Well, this is the great. Again, I'm going to leave that down to your interpretation. Well, I'm going to ask, what's your interpretation to the panel and the viewers of what success at Tottenham is, and does he have the tools to achieve that? Because some will say Spurs coming in the top 8 is success for a club their size, based on the money that other clubs spend,
I'd agree with
quality of manager. So, yeah, I mean, I'll open it up to the floor for you guys and, of course, the viewers. What is success at Tottenham, and does Ange have the tools in the squad to achieve at least that expectation?
100%. 100% he does. Success at Tottenham is finishing in a European spot and having a cup run. Yep. I'm sorry, I'm looking at that FA Cup semi-final lineup. Palace, Villa, Forest, City. Do I think the Tottenham squad could have replaced one of those teams? Should be in that stage of the competition. 100% it should do. Do I think the Tottenham squad should not be the first team to ever finish 17th with a positive goal difference? Yes, it should be looking to finish 7th. That squad is nowhere near as bad as it's made out. But Postecoglou manages it in such a stupid, flawed way. He's part of that new era of manager that I can't stand. The manager that is all about system rather than management. They live and die by a system. Guess what? Systems get found out. You played the same way for 2 years and you've been crap for 1 year and 11 months of that time. You've been found out that entire time. I don't get why he stands by this system.
Because that's negative. What you're saying is negative, and you're wrong. That is all I get fucking told. Look at the evidence, right? This season we've lost more games.
Being negative, then
we lost more games this season So the last 3 seasons Poch had, we've equaled the amount of defeats he had in 3 years this season in the Premier League.
Impressive, man.
Like,
you're breaking all the records at the minute, aren't you? Fair play.
we're one loss away from equaling our worst season in our history, and that was when we got relegated in the bloody 70s.
Special.
On a serious note, how are you 17th? And I'm actually trying to work it out in my head, but my brain can't compute it. How is it positive and you're losing every game? That doesn't make any. By definition,
when you beat teams, you must have beat
when
teams.
They won big. They beat like Everton 4-0.
4-0.
They beat like Everton 4-0. They beat Southampton 5-0.
You're right.
So, then when we lose 4-2 to Wolves, we lose 3-2 to Brighton, we lose 4-3 to Chelsea, we lose flipping 6-3 to Liverpool. That game at Anfield will be the game that Liverpool lift the Premier League trophy. You might as well get the lube now, because that is going to be an absolute fucking battering.
I think I'd be so humble if I was a Spurs
fan. We'll have nothing to play for.
It'll
be Bonnie Blue on steroids. We will get opened up and it'll be non-stop. Every single player will probably score, because by then we'll be on the beach. Don't worry, lads, we're staying up. You can all get your Range Rovers at your end-of-year bonuses, right? Like Daniel Levy's brought on Vini, the Arsenal CEO. Like what his job's going to be to put on more money. The whole club from top to bottom needs to be rebuilt. Footballing is not the goal. It's about getting as many revenue streams as you possibly can.
If they don't change, would you consider supporting another football club instead?
Yeah, genuinely I would. I honestly would go to like a conference league or a non-league side.
Okay, fair.
It's absolutely.
You can go abroad. We'll let him go abroad.
Yeah, I'm going to support a Spanish side.
We say that, but 6 months down the line,
yeah, but he's not allowed back on the top 6 show after that. You're not allowed on the top 6 show anymore, though. One of them.
I'd happily, if it got to the point where Tottenham were like fucking relegated to like League 2, I wouldn't have any hair. 2, I wouldn't have any chairs.
Man, that's too much, man. Come on, bro.
Like I just can't. Honestly, they're absolute bastards. A lot of them. In that, they're all sitting there in the boardroom looking at what we get, 144 million profit in the last year, which is down 3%, but still the second highest in the league. Yet it's down 3%. Only Man United is higher. And what are we going to do in the transfer window? They're already pushing the PR. They're already pushing it that we've got a tight budget because we're not going to finish in Europe. Yet Kendrick Lamar's about to extend his fucking tour out on the ground.
What I'm going to do, Henry, what I'm going to do right now, I'm moving my mouse up and down the screen, and I'm not, hang on, let me just get the mouse on my screen. I'm moving the mouse up and down. I'm not looking. It looks a bit dodgy, but there we go. Say stop, and that's going to be your new team, all right? I want you to say stop, and that's going to be your new team.
Stop. Here we go. Who is it?
It's fucking Tottenham! It's not fucking Tottenham!
Wait, you're stuck.
You can't escape it.
It's halfway. It's just above Wolves. It's near. The point is nearer Tottenham. I can't do it. I do it again. We'll do it again.
That just tells you how Spursy my luck is.
Do it again.
Go on, stop.
Where are we? Can't see the mouse. Do it again. It's off the screen. Sorry. I've got to look. Otherwise it comes off the screen. Go on. Do it again.
Stop.
Bournemouth. You got Bournemouth.
No, you can't support Bournemouth. That's too good.
They're too ambitious for the Tottenham fan. He
needs a Dorking Wanderers.
Henry. Right now, I give you a 2-year loan deal, option to make it permanent. We wear white.
That's like when Thomas Gravesen ended up at fucking Real Madrid. Obviously, you're going to take that.
I'm someone that doesn't ever believe you should change football teams, right? But there is a club in Manchester called FC United of Manchester, which is all ex-Man United fans who didn't like what the Glazers were doing. This was 2005, and said we're stepping away from the football club. I feel that if you do something like that, and then you just go, right, I'm going to go and support another team who's currently another team, but they're currently the best in the country. There's a little bit of like glory hunting in that. If you as a Spurs fan legitimately walked away and become a Leyton Orient supporter, became a Barnet supporter, I don't think people could blame you.
I could never do it.
I know you say you couldn't, but based on, and what I mean is this: you are moaning about not winning, but your complaint is more look at the money we make, look at the money we charge, look how they're exploiting the fans. I can understand somebody I'm not saying you're going to do it, but I can understand somebody walking away who feels exploited by their football club. For instance, when it all came out about those clubs in England that were protecting paedophilia, a certain generation of football fan, I don't know how they could continue supporting those clubs. For me, it was like, I get the younger gen. It was old guard and people that weren't running the club now. So maybe there's a bit of that. But for me, it was a little bit like, bruv, I don't know if I could do that genuinely. Like there's certain, I'm not considering what Spurs are doing as bad as that, right? But I think there are certain things your club could do, certain things they could cover up from your past, or exploiting fans, robbing fans, the way they treat people. I think there are certain things a club could do that I think justify you walking away. Doesn't mean you can go, right, I'm stopping supporting Tottenham, I'm becoming a City fan. I think people would look at that as a little bit dodgy, but I do get it, because where else do you, genuinely, in another 5 years, say nothing changes, what are you going to do? Stop? Like, what's the alternative other than walking away?
He can come to Spain. Come on. He come to Spain.
Los Blancos.
I mean, Swansea.
No, my luck. You wouldn't win in the
Tottenham
Champions
legend
League.
Luka Modric owns Swansea now. Maybe you
Hey,
can
look,
join Luka.
aside from this season, life's pretty good, you know? So, come on, Henry.
You've already won 2 trophies this season as well. Super Cup.
Yeah,
Henry,
but
if I stop supporting Arsenal, I just support Nigeria.
That's what I mean, Henry. You've got to go to a different sport,
Nigeria.
bro. You got to go support.
Look, I'm never going to stop supporting Tottenham. It's a team.
NBA is not that bad, though,
Henry.
Henry. Like, if you wanted to get into, like, basketball, like,
I was
that's
going to
pretty...
say, he's got to support the Heat.
Bro.
He's got to support.
Yeah, Henry talks basketball.
Why would he do that? The Heat? No.
I don't know.
The Heat
do that to him, bro.
He's got to pick someone. He's got to pick somebody.
No, he's got to pick Spurs, doesn't he?
Yeah, San Antonio.
Hey, well, look, Spurs
yeah.
got
Wembanyama,
It's not the worst
Yeah,
look. That's not the worst look.
Yeah, I mean, look,
You
Spurs
watch,
got
I'll start
Wembanyama.
supporting the San Antonio Spurs and he'll sign for the Lakers.
Facts.
No, I do feel you. I feel you. I mean, I'm only winding you up a little bit. Staffy here. What I'm. By the way, Staffy was meant to be on the show with us today, and he fell asleep. Just unprofessional.
That's
bum.
a common L from Staffy.
Someone had to step in, didn't they?
Come on, Terry.
Look at the team he's got. Henry, he don't like you, man.
Yeah, like this guy said the Knicks. Like the Knicks are basically the NBA Tottenham. Big arena, big city, no trophies.
Chike here says, big up Terry and the gang. He said, this is 4-wheel. What are your thoughts on the Knicks playing the Pistons and the Lakers playing the Timberwolves? Timberwolves.
I said Timberwolves.
Sorry. I fucking know, do I? I'm dyslexic.
Don't
laugh at my disability, you bastards. Don't laugh.
I'm the same. I don't know why I was laughing.
Is it Edwards? Is it Edwards?
Yeah, Anthony Edwards is on the Timberwolves. I mean, look,
Lakers win.
It should be pretty interesting. Like the playoffs and all that stuff. Yeah. But basketball is dead to me right now, so I don't care.
Yeah.
Who's your team?
The Nets.
Oh yeah, they're shit.
Fucking hell.
You
must have felt on top of the world a couple of years ago with Durant, Irving, and fucking Harden.
Support your local team, innit? Support your support your locals.
Blame Kyrie.
But the playoffs this year should be pretty fire. Like the games.
Sorry.
The games for you guys though, right? Like the NBA games is like 2 a.m., 3 a.m., right? Like you can't.
And the Lakers play.
Yeah, but like, Tom can watch it. Tom ain't got a job. Do you know what I mean? So he can just like there's truth in that.
He's not wrong.
I know I ain't wrong. I've known you for 5-6 years. I know you ain't got a job. Do you know what I mean? You're always available to stream. So it's I'm only messing, mate. A question about American sports: when a team leaves a city because the franchise moves, do people say a team leaves New York and goes to Texas, making
like
the
LA Rams did?
Do people migrate with them in terms of the team they support, or do they pick a new team? What's the acceptable thing to do in the States?
So like for example, like the Los Angeles Rams used to be in St. Louis, and then Stan Kroenke moved them out of St. Louis to Los Angeles. So I do know a couple of people that they ended up just supporting the Chiefs because that was like their new team that was like the closest. But I feel like you would still kind of just follow them. But it could be hard though, because in America, it's like you don't get access to watch every team if it's not in like your region. You know, like you'd have to like pay extra.
Why do you not complicate everything, bro?
Wait, so hang on. You've got like the West.
Why is everything just complicated?
2 different feet.
You lot. That sounds a bit
so for like
racist
example,
to me,
right? Like
Terrible,
so
man.
let's say for example, like the Kansas City Chiefs are playing like the Los Angeles Rams.
Let's say the
right?
Warriors are playing the Pistons.
Yeah. So like, I wouldn't get that game in like the New York area unless I pay for like the NBA. Like, yeah, but if it's like a big matchup, right? Let's say if it's
basically
like
Tottenham, Henry. They're basically Tottenham.
Basically,
Well, I mean, but let's say, for example, though. Well, for example, let's say if it's like a huge matchup, right? Let's say if it's like the Lakers versus like I don't know, like the Warriors, right? So LeBron versus Steph, then they'll put that on like a prime time where everybody can watch it across the country. But like if you're playing like the one-off games against like smaller teams or less important teams, if you're not local, then you can't watch it without paying extra. So
damn. Yeah, one of the hockey teams I liked as a kid was the Minnesota North Stars, and then they became the Dallas Stars. I think that's Minnesota and Dallas. They're not near each other, I would assume. My geography's terrible, but I don't think they're near each other.
They're on my favorite hockey team is the Mighty Ducks, man. I don't know about anyone else.
Well, I love the Ducks because of the film, but then the first NHL game I went to was the Ottawa Senators versus the Maple Leafs, so I picked the Sens, and still a fan now. I haven't watched a game in 7 years, but I'm still a fan now. Do you know what I mean? So it's there it is. Evening, Terry and everyone. Wimbledon changed the name. MK Dons. Wimbledon fans made their own team. AFC Wimbledon. Yeah, look, I was asking just because I think in England, if a team was to move, and I got why Wimbledon did at the time, but it was, that kind of, they never ever, MK Dons have never reached the heights that the original Wimbledon did. It's a shame, really, because it just broke up a really plucky little team, really, with a great little history with the Crazy Gang and winning the FA Cup when they shouldn't have done. And I'm not saying it's totally lost, but you literally split a club in half, basically. And yeah, terrible, really. It should never have been allowed to happen. The 6th season Spurs were above Arsenal was an average of 6 points, but in the last 3 seasons, we've been above them by an average of 20 points, including this season. That is a beatdown, isn't it? That is a beatdown.
How big is the gap this year?
Where did Henry go?
I don't even know, bro. Henry's gone to check the gap.
It's nearly 30 points. I think it's like 26 points gap.
Jesus.
Hey, what do you know who we're missing right now, Terry? We are missing the stat man himself, Will, bro. Will, wherever you are, bro. I hope you're good, mate.
Yeah, exactly. I hope you're well and safe while you've not been here. But it's all the little things. Like, I want to know about the underlying numbers between Saliba and Romero now, bruv. I want to know how 2 years ago he predicted that based on... I've always said this. I don't know enough about American sports. But what I'm often told, and if I'm wrong, shoot me down. I need secondary information, that you can kind of call a lot of American sports by the statistics. You know, you've got the Moneyball thing, but a lot of the sports, the statistics play a really strong role, and they play a big part in football because I like stats. But sometimes when I hear people talk about underlying numbers, I've always found them in football to be a little bit flawed. I remember, I don't know which fan base put this out there, but it was a stat that showed that every time 80% or plus of their entire squad was fit, they win like 90% of their games. And I remember reading it, they put it out there, and everyone's going, oh my God, we're a better team than we thought. And there was a massive flaw in this study. It didn't factor in how many injuries all the teams they were playing had at the same time.
Wait, so you're not talking about me, right? Like, because you
no, not you, Will. Tottenham
okay. I was about to say, like, I don't remember doing stats. I was about to say, like, I don't remember doing that.
Will was like, yo, what's going on?
No, it wasn't me. I promise. No, not you, Will.
I was about to say, bro, like, I don't do like the whole stat stuff like that. Okay, cool.
No, Terry, just because you have the stats doesn't mean you know how to interpret them.
I understand that. I've always felt with football, I think stats play a part. I've never denied that. But I also feel as though it's a different sport, because I often hear people speak about the stats and I just look at it and go, what the fuck are you talking about? And in reality, and Will, listen, no disrespect to Will, he was a lovely bloke. I always got on well with him. But I would like to hear from him now and understand, because maybe numbers explain it, why some very bold predictions about their squad compared to Arsenal's, defenders compared to Arsenal's, league position compared to Arsenal's, which the statisticians were saying it's not like it's a certainty, mathematical certainty almost. Well, I would love to know the rationale behind what went wrong, not even to take the piss, to understand it, because we all thought at the time those claims were a little bit Harry Potter, a little magical. You know what I mean? A little bit far-fetched, and I'd love to know the reason now. I really, really would. Let's do some more of these super chats here. First one says, I'd feel sorry for Spurs if Deji didn't exist. Do you know, I spoke about Deji on my fan reaction show earlier, and This man, I've seen him in the space of 2 days before go from calling Ange a big fat disgusting pig, get out of the club, to 2 days later saying he's going to win us a cup treble this year. So that Deji is just the most bipolar Spurs fan I've ever seen in my life. Accept my condolences, Henry. That's from Dio on the show there. Maybe Son should have scored that goal against City instead of missing on purpose and having Spurs fans doing the City dance. You have to imagine you would have had Champions League football, more money, maybe attracted better players. That miss that you all celebrated it could be considered a contributing factor to why you're 17th this year.
Yeah,
heading to 17th.
We probably would have had a.
Well, it was worth it, right, Henry? It was worth it because Arsenal didn't win the league.
Oh yeah,
right?
Well, it's a lot.
Yeah, you stay in our shadow for the rest of your lives, man. It's fine.
Yeah,
keep focus on us.
What are the people called who play a guitar in a train station? What are they called?
Buskers.
Like buskers.
Yeah, the busker at the Tottenham's ground was singing "I'm City till July." That just shows you
that's you, man.
Our fan base. So it's like to a T. That super chat. I don't know if you read it out. When's our next win come next season?
Jesus.
Look,
I love it. I love it.
Forest, Frankfurt, West Ham will beat us because it's the cup final, and then we've also got Villa away who are battling for top four.
I know you said it this morning, but for the sake of the top 6 show, you think Frankfurt knock you out this week?
Yeah, they won 3-0 yesterday. They got Kevin Trapp back, who's a top goalkeeper. I don't know how you pronounce it. Their number 9's name. He bagged as well. Yeah, he would score. And
I can say that one.
Frankfurt aren't world beaters. They just lost to Werder Bremen. Like they lost 2-0 comfortably. They're not an elite side, but we are just that bad right now.
Do you think that would be the end?
So you think Ange Postecoglou's won his last ever game for Tottenham? There will be no more Ange Postecoglou wins as a Tottenham manager.
Hey, and just get into the final, bro.
I think if we go back to Frankfurt, I expect the club announcement around 11 p.m. It's normally
You're
11
still
p.m.
saying if, so that means you got hope, man. So don't do that.
No, 11 p.m. There'll be a picture of the corner flag. It will say club announcement. Tottenham it won't be sacked. Tottenham have parted ways with Ange Postecoglou. Then what we'll do is we'll bring in Ryan Mason. We'll then go and beat Nottingham Forest. I guarantee you, if we've got Ryan Mason in for that Forest game, all of a sudden the players will start playing football again, and we'll go and beat Forest. Then we'll probably have a little, like we did when Conte got sacked. We scored 3 goals at Anfield. Like the football, I know we lost that game, but the football was so different to what we play under Conte. It's like the player switches go right. We've got to earn our money again.
I get that. Kunle, let me ask you this question. As a gooner. All right. So, what would you rather? Ange lose to Frankfurt 3-0, and he gets sackadided, right? Sackadided, big up Fabrizio Romano. Or they get to the final. There's obviously a chance they can win it, but there's also a chance they could feel the disappointment of losing another European final. Which one are you taking? Which one are you going for? The bigger disappointment of losing the final, or Ange getting sacked this week? Which one of you as a gooner would you pick?
I want the big scenes, man. I want the big one, man. I want the big bomb. Like I want the mixture of content with the hope versus the fear, and then the outcry at the end. I need it all, bro. I'm willing to take that risk. I'm willing to take that risk.
You're willing to take the risk against Ange. I always win a trophy in my second season.
Hey, I'm willing to take it, man. I'm willing to take it.
Couldn't they? Just remember 8 Mile could happen. Just remember. It can happen.
Does any of you guys think we will beat Frankfurt?
No.
I'm the money's on Ange, bro. What do you mean, bro? Ange all the way. Yeah, Ange all the way.
Just know if Ange wins that, if Ange was to make it to the final and win it, 8 Mile.
I want him to go like this at the final.
8 Mile.
His press conference. I said this on the tweet. Ange Postecoglou in that press conference would be sitting there with a notebook, with written in it everything that people have said about him this year, and he'd be going on it. He'd be going through it. You said this about me. Look at me. The fans doubted me. Look at my subs.
Tom, that's why secretly, as much as I hate Spurs, I'm here for that interview. You know, I'm here for it. Like, so you said I couldn't do it. I'm here for it, man. As much as I'd hate it. It'd be so funny. He'd probably walk out and quit after that as well, man. I want him gone.
End on a high note.
Literally, bro.
He'd leave by saying he's too big for the club. He'd leave by saying he's got bigger ambitions than the football.
You know what's
how many
funny as
offers
well,
I got in my locker, mate?
My team are in it, so obviously I don't want Spurs to right now. I want to win it, but there is also an element of watching the sort of the dichotomy, the frustration, the annoyance of Spurs fans who are like, hang on, but we do need him out because we're going to be shit in the league next year. But he's just won us a massive trophy. Do we celebrate? Do we feel? I almost feel him winning it as well creates, of course, it's celebrated in the moment and rightfully so. But I do think once the alcohol wears off and the euphoria dies down, there's this element of, fuck, he's still here. Especially to the Spurs fans who want him gone. Like, it's going to be a very interesting end to the season. Viewers, give us your thoughts, give us your opinions in the comment section below. Bath here says, the talk of how to fix United, we'll come back to that when we're talking United a bit later. Can we have the same Solanke convo for Palmer?
No,
Solanke's 27.
He's got 20 GA this season already. You can't.
But is he going to be back before the end of the season, David? Did he get the same injury as Havertz?
I believe so, because I will never not doubt in Cole.
Last 2 weeks of the season,
I believe so. He's coming.
Hey, David, question.
No, but you see, Cole, I have a question about Cole, actually. Is it just a rough patch? Is it second season? Is it Jackson was away for long and he's not trying to fix the connection with him again? Like, what do you reckon the issue is with Cole right now?
I think Cole's biggest problem is he's doubting himself. I think if Cole just goes like, I'm him, and he starts striking the ball as soon as he gets it, we'll get Cole Palmer back. But right now, because he hasn't scored in so long, every time he gets a chance to score, he takes that extra like half a second and the keeper sets himself and then it's not as effective. Whereas like last year when he got the ball and he just hit it, the keeper's not even ready for it and the ball's in the back of the net. He don't know what to do.
Do you think saying the extra pressure has caused him to second guess himself? Is that what you're saying?
Do you know what? In a way, yes. I would say so. But I think part of being a young player is figuring out how to like get over that. Like I don't think he's like done like at all.
No,
I think he's not this. So he's not.
They shouldn't be part of certain conversations he was about. If he's
I think he's just a young player
messing around with that sort of thing. You know.
Do you think that there's a possibility that Cole Palmer leaves if you guys don't make Champions League?
No. And if he does leave, I don't think he is going to leave. Not anytime soon. But if he does leave, you better pay 200 mil. Because
200.
He's got 5 years. He's got 5 years on his contract. No, he's got 7 years on his contract. He's
only had one good season. So why would he be worth
I forget that you give him longer than certain criminals get in prison.
This is what I'm saying, bro.
But you know that he's not worth 200 mil, though. Come on.
That's not. Hey. That's not what the market says.
Even on the market, they're not.
Even on the market, he's not worth 200 M's. Like Cole Palmer's worth maybe like 120, like 120 max.
120, maybe 120 on 4 years or 3 years, but he's got 7.
If Palmer's 120, what's Jude, Vinny, Saka?
No. The problem,
but they don't have 7 years.
They're not. Henry, you finally admitting Saka's better than Palmer now.
You're missing out.
I'm not saying any. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just the messenger.
Mate, you just brought up those names, so I'm assuming you brought them up for a reason. Why did you bring them up, Henry?
Yeah, we'll take Saka out of that.
The death row contract means it has to be 150 minimum. At a minimum, it's got to be 150. 7 years.
Yeah, but who in their right mind's going to go?
That's Lucas Graham. If you know,
but that's not Chelsea's problem.
Well, the thing is,
if he wants to leave, he's not going to go for 150. If he wants to leave, he's not going to demand 150.
Well, so Chelsea will set that price just so that people don't bid for him. But if he was to seriously leave, David knows that he's not getting no 200 or 150.
Why not?
Because, bro, like, if a player wants out, like Chelsea fans, they talk about these death row contracts. You're not going to keep a player that's trying to force a move away from the club. And nobody's going to pay 200 or 100.
But the Chelsea fans haven't seen what that looks like yet, so they think it can't happen. Until it happens, they'll still say, "Oh, we can get 200 there." Until a player is in that position, they're going to believe it can't happen. And that's fair enough.
It's like the years on the contract just means that you're not dumb like Liverpool to let them leave for free. So you'll get money for them.
Hey, we're two of them aren't leaving for free. We've done all right now.
Yeah, I mean, but they're in their 30s. Like, nobody want them anyways like that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
the plot thickens. Yeah, like Palmer's just having the first crisis of his career, and a lot of young players go through this.
Sure.
It's why I think with hindsight's lucrative. Chelsea fans should have probably just stopped the whole, he's better than Saka, he's better than this, better than that. Because, as soon as he goes for a bad patch, there's going to be all this additional pressure then that comes down upon that player. You sometimes don't do yourself any favors by not overhyping, but sometimes the player comparisons don't need to happen. And we've all done it. I do it sometimes with my players, and I often then regret it when they go for a bad period. You're better off sometimes just keeping... I know it's not what social media is. Social media is about showing off to the nth degree, but I don't always know if it's the right thing to do. Again, with hindsight, of course. This here says, this is crazy stat. Big chances in the Premier League, on the Premier League website. Liverpool top with 91, Chelsea 82, City 81, Arsenal 78, Aston Villa 74. Not much difference. No. But what's really interesting, again, he's not here to answer this, but maybe Friday when Don's on. Don sort of says Arsenal are one of the worst creators in the league, but also says Chelsea are brilliant at it. That's why
he just makes noise, though, bro. You know him.
However, it would be interesting to see the breakdown of where the big chances are coming from, because Don, I don't know the number, but let's say as an example, 20 of those Arsenal big chances created are corners, and Chelsea have 4 big chances created from a corner. Then his opinion would hold a bit of weight.
Open play. Yeah. If there's a discrepancy. That's a great shout. That's a great shout. It's a very, very good shout. Very, very good shout indeed. City should sell Grealish and target Palmer this summer. The prodigal son returns.
That'll be interesting. That one.
Well, City have signed.
Stop deal.
City have signed re-signed a midfielder today. Yesterday. Ilkay Gundogan staying for another year.
Yeah, I thought they would have
such a weird signing. Weird.
What happened to the rebuild? One. Keeping it. I mean, he's probably the one that you wouldn't keep as well.
Yeah, it's a weird one.
But is that anyone on there think that's a smart move, or should they be looking to really refresh that midfield with a bit more youthful exuberance?
I mean, I don't think it's a bad move if he's not playing. I feel like if they just want him in the locker room for, just to be able to
it's not a bad move if he's not here doing his job. If he's just here, if he just stands around the place, he's all right.
Nah, because they are losing De Bruyne.
Will, you're a brilliant podcaster when you sit there and don't talk. It's brilliant, bruv. You say amazing things.
Nah, but you know how when you'll have those veterans in the locker room, and it's they'll get some minutes here and there. You'll maybe start them in the early round,
it's called that's called Pep Guardiola's job, I think. The manager.
Okay, but then it's the same way how we're talking about Chelsea. Well, no, but it's the same way that we talk about Chelsea and say that they need some leaders in the locker room. The same, yes, that is the manager's job. But at the same time,
leaders who contribute on the pitch and actually play and have positive impact on the football pitch.
Will's actually onto something because they're losing a lot of experience in that midfield. So actually, no, they got coverage. No, they're all right. They're all right, man.
Well, not okay, but then it's similar to
the one thing Manchester City don't lose is
they're all right.
Man City have an abundance of experience in that squad. They don't. It's not a case of no, how will certain players handle it? Oh no, their defense is full of experience.
I don't think it's a bad deal.
It's not a good one.
Wrong with it. Just
how much is he on a week?
It's nothing. It's not a bad deal, good deal. It's just
it's not like some horrendous thing that people should be mad about. I think again,
he shouldn't be playing 35 plus games next season, though. That's for sure.
Gundogan is on $200,000 a week.
Oh, wow. Come on, but that's nothing that for Man City. Come on, what's
that? That's something as a club.
But what's that? 10 mil a year? Come on, that's not no real money for Man City.
PSR, no.
If I go look at the Premier League wages, and we're saying that it's okay if we keep Gundogan around because he's good for the squad, he's a little cheerleader, he plays cards on the bus and all that.
Yeah, probably good for
we're saying that's fine. It's fine to have the.
It's just like Modric at Madrid. Right?
18th highest paid player in the Premier League. 18th plays 0 games.
Wait. But he's gonna play some games. I'm saying it's not bad if he's there as a leader in the locker room, right? He gets some minutes here and there. He starts the Carabao Cup, maybe the easy games in the UCL next season, so that you can rotate a little bit while not giving away your experience.
Tom, it might not be bad deal. I think maybe the year after he becomes a coach, maybe that's what it is. That's the only thing that makes
maybe
he goes upstairs.
Maybe
I just don't see how you can defend that. He doesn't have any positive impact on the pitch.
Most City fans, this season have been saying it's a mistake. So I'd love to get they're hard to get hold of on this show. But we'll speak to LB tomorrow about it and see what he has to say. Question, and this is to Will first of all. Are Real Madrid starting to crack under the pressure of playing Arsenal? And I ask that because, according to a big report that has come out today, they are stating that it's been one of the most tense weeks in Real Madrid's dressing room ahead of the clash with Arsenal. Jude Bellingham, Antonio Rudiger have been separated during training as a bad tackle led to a confrontation. We've seen, of course, Mbappe get himself sent off at the weekend. Madrid are talking about banning the color red in the city centre. Carlo Ancelotti is said to be, and it's incredible sources, they're getting out his lucky cardigan for the game as an example. Some of the posts, and listen, a lot of Arsenal
RIP
fans
to their legend that passed last week. They said that was a potential sacrifice, but RIP to their legend.
It's crazy. And there's a lot of sort of like, a lot of people always love Real Madrid because the fans, the club, the sort of big fan accounts connected don't do any of the sort of English club PR, the English club voodoo, the English club. But it does feel like there's a lot of tension, a lot of fighting, a lot of weird behavior from the greatest team in the history of football. Are you a little?
You forgot
to scared? Are you a little
the video
scared
as well?
of Arsenal's visit? Are you a little scared of being dumped out of
The
Europe?
motivational video.
Yeah, the motivational video. What else is there been, boys?
The ultras have said that they're going to do something they've never done before for the bus welcome. You know, they're going all out for this one against little old Arsenal with no starting centre back for it.
And no number 9 either. They've got Marino.
Yeah, and by the way, Standards FC. I've seen all of those guys. The sort of, again, the nameless and the faceless Twitter people and all the big accounts that follow it. They do this whole Madrid don't ever do PR. Can we just put that to bed? Every club does PR. Every club does this, big, small, or indifferent, right? Let's put it to bed. But so it's a bit of a joke thing for me saying, Arsenal scare Real Madrid. But the way some of your fans are behaving, the fact you guys are going to a museum to take out a cardigan to get Don Carlo to wear it for the game, is that a bit surprising that your great club is behaving like it's Arsenal?
Hey, look, first things first, Carlo out. The way that this guy has allowed these Arsenal fans to show so much chess, like this is actually crazy, bro. A freak result last week because of this absolute fraud of a manager getting things wrong once again. Yeah, man, look, this guy is a scrub. Regardless, though, every club does PR though, 100%. After we lost to Arsenal in the first leg, I already knew what was gonna come out the next day. Trent's looking for a house in Madrid. Saliba, the club are scouting. Dean Huijsen. It's PR every single time after a loss. So, a lot of people that say that Madrid don't run PRs because you don't really pay attention. They don't really watch. They're not really following. But, of course, it's 100% a lot of PR that's going on. Look, I saw that Kunle. Look, like Kunle, brother, I know that you went to church probably like on Sunday, bro, because you were praying.
But I went to church every day. What do you mean Sunday?
All right, look, see?
And why are you just assuming that he goes to church? What is it about Kunle that you don't?
I told him last week, to be fair, that I was good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, but, right? Also, he knows what's happening on Wednesday, bro. We've seen a lot of madness go on at that Bernabeu, right? I've seen a lot of comebacks. I've seen a lot of times when people thought it was over. I think Arsenal are 100% the favorites. I'd say you guys should be going through. I'd give you a 90% chance. I say I got 10% chance of doing something. And that's all that I need.
Cavaliers versus the Warriors.
That's all that I need. And I tell you this.
Be LeBron?
1 second, brother. I know that we spoke about some sacrifices going on, right? Somebody died last week. I saw that Valverde's leg was bleeding in training. They're saying that a madness is happening, right? There's 4 virgin goats underneath the Bernabeu waiting to be slaughtered. Look, man, it's going to be some magic going on. And let me tell you something right now. It's happening. Kunle, 4-3.
Hey, Will.
4-3 on aggregate. We go through.
I heard.
I'm calling it right now.
What I heard is Auntie is cooking up a big pot of pate jollof rice for everybody to eat at the Bernabeu. A big pot of pate jollof rice. Look, Madrid, yeah, like I think we're gonna draw the game 2-2. The tie ends 5-3, 5-2 on aggregate. That's how it's gonna end. I think we score first. You equalize in the first half. Then you score in the second half, get a little bit giddy. Then obviously we put it to bed in the last 10 minutes.
I mean, look, like all jokes aside, if you score first, then it's over. I think the first like 20 minutes is going to be very crucial. I think that we have to score like very early. I think if we can go into halftime with it being like 3-1 on aggregate, then I would feel like, you know, maybe something really can happen. But I mean, look, what
midfield do you want? What midfield do you want on Wednesday night?
It would have to be Jude, Tchouaméni, and Modric. Like Modric has to start that game again.
If you dare start Modric in that game again, you're finished.
But it's different though. But it's different.
You're
like the reason why Modric
last 30 minutes will be perfect for him. Last 30 for him in this game. Not to start.
But the reason why Modric shouldn't have started that first leg is because we wanted to play on the counter. So it's like, why are you starting a 39-year-old Luka Modric to run after the ball and defend? But this game, we have to be the aggressor. Like we have to be on the ball. And Arsenal are going to play a low block. I don't have any other midfielder that can break down what you're going to do, except for Modric. So, like Ceballos just came back against Alaves, so he's not going to start right away. He's been out for over a month. So it has to be Modric.
All right, don't disrespect Ceballos. He's been balling.
Real Madrid
has been fantastic this season. Like
you're pinning your hopes on Dani Ceballos.
Does that mean you're?
That's where it's come to.
Hold on. If you've not watched Ceballos before his injury, then I don't really think you can make a comment on it.
I've never seen anyone fight for Danny on a stream. Go for it, though.
Yeah, because you guys don't watch Real Madrid.
No, I rate him.
He's been balling Ceballos.
I'm sure
Dani Ceballos has bounced back in his career, but I am not having it. That Dani Ceballos is going to be the difference maker.
Brother,
Real Madrid
he used to play for Arsenal, so it's not impossible.
Brother, Ceballos before his injury was our best midfielder for like 2 straight months.
That says more so about how bad your midfield has been.
That's the problem.
No, because he was playing at bro. Okay, look, mind you, I'm a guy that wanted Ceballos sold last summer. I didn't get why he was, but like Carlo loves the guy. I wanted him gone. I've never seen Dani Ceballos before that injury play like how he was. He was moving like he was possessed. I don't know who that was, bro, but he was cooking. Ceballos
he was
a big miss for us.
To be fair, that Ceballos has been cooking this season. All jokes aside, he actually has been cooking.
He's been phenomenal.
So, but if that's who you're relying on to give you the game, I think we'll be all right. You know, but he's been cooking.
But he's not going to play like that because he only just came back from injury. So that's why it has to be Modric. Modric was also rested against Alaves.
If Modric starts, I'm pretty confident we dominate that midfield.
If Vini and Mbappe, if the game plan is to force feed the ball to them again, then you ain't going to win this game.
But wait. But how can you say that? My whole front three are big game players.
Well, they didn't show that in the first leg, did they?
Like in these knockout stages, he turns up.
Vini since the turn of the year has stunk. He's and Mbappe.
Vini at the Bernabeu is different, Vini, bro. Don't do
that. Well, I don't know. Against Atleti, he was absolutely useless.
No, okay.
In the last 16.
Brother. But we've been trash all season, and this is why, like, when I come out here and I say Carlo out, and people want to laugh and stuff, we've been awful. That's why I said for the first leg, I didn't predict a win. I said that we a draw.
So even saying that the manager's bad and you stink.
Carlo is a scrub.
You still believe
he's retired.
He's the most successful manager in Champions League history.
He needs to.
He's having a bad moment. He's not a scrub.
Carlo's been found out this season. He doesn't have any tactics. There's no adjustments. There's nothing. Like he does not. Carlo does the same thing that you and I do. He just watches the game. He makes no impact on it.
Yeah, he has the most Champions League wins. Yeah, he's done.
Okay, so but based on your logic of him being a scrub, you still think you can score 4 goals?
Yes, because because of the players who are there, not because of what he'll possibly do.
Since the turn of the year, what has Vini? Mbappe's been good since the turn of the year, but Vini, he needs the game that I think he needs. Do you remember the Dortmund game last season where he scored the hat trick and he ran from his own box to their box and it was unbelievable.
Yeah. That was
that's the Vini you need. You need Vini against Atleti in the last 16. He was awful, hooked off, gargantuan stinker. Right, Rodrigo has to be on it. Arsenal. The game plan is just going to be sit back and frustrate, and then I just don't know how you're going. This Arsenal team haven't ever conceded 4 goals under Arteta one game. They've only conceded 4 goals, and they
But
haven't
we have to
conceded
be
more than
honest,
3
Henry.
in 440 days.
Okay, yes, but I can only go off of proof of concept. I've seen us do very good comebacks. I've also seen Arsenal bottle a lot of things that
Coming down against Dortmund
in their hands.
is a bit different to this Arsenal side, though, because they're.
I won't lie. I'm more scared of the team that you lined up on the weekend than the one you're going to line up at the Bernabeu. That team that you started with is more balanced than the one you're going to
against Alaves.
Yeah, it was more balanced, bro.
I mean, we rotated a little.
I know you rotate, like playing Rodrigo left and all that stuff. Bro.
I hear a lot. I want to ask Will a question. When it comes to the players kicking off and fighting this week, do you think that's a sign of?
That's good.
Do you think that the tension here? Do you think do you think it's a sign of passion, or do you think a lack of unity?
Yeah, they should be fighting. It's yeah. Like there's nothing to be happy about. It's like they be doing training and it's all smiles. No tactics are being practiced. It's just like little roundabouts and that. They should be fighting. There's nothing to be happy about this season. We got embarrassed by Barcelona every time we played them. We're about to possibly get knocked out of the UCL. We bottled the La Liga title race. And we got to play Barca in Copa del Rey final. I mean, there's really nothing to be happy about right now. So I fully agree with the players fighting. If that's what's going on.
Yeah. James here says, stop calling Carlo a bad manager, Will. It seems you have not been watching Arsenal in the Champions League. You are all predicting Arsenal to sit back, but not this Arsenal. A few people in the comments have also said that as well. The Hybrid Ultras 13 says people will be surprised Arsenal aren't going to park the bus.
If so, the thing is, if you don't park the bus, then you're an idiot. Why? I truly do believe that if you come and if you're gonna try and let's say play the same way that
you come with the same game plan we had at the Emirates, we get the first goal, then what?
Yeah, see, but the thing is though, we're not gonna sit back. We sat back,
but we want you to come. But we want you to come out. So if you come out and leave Martinelli 1-on-1 with what's his name? What's that right winger that plays right back?
No,
we're excited.
It'll be Valverde at right back.
You reckon? You don't think Valverde is going to be put back in the midfield for this game?
Nah. He'll have to invert because you can't start Lucas Vazquez because again, it's like you're saying.
I'm hoping for that start. I'm not going to lie.
We can't concede because if we concede, then it's over. So you do have to still somewhat play a balanced back line. You can't just throw out the attacking fullbacks.
Yeah, but
it leaves so much space.
You're giving up the midfield if you don't play Valverde in there.
Why?
In my opinion.
Thank you.
Wait, but how am I giving up the midfield with Jude, Tchouameni, and Modric? What are you talking about?
You were Jude, Camavinga, Modric last time out, and your midfield got run through. Valverde
they were trying to counter-attack. Now they
need we need to hope that Partey is back because without Partey, it's problematic.
What Real Madrid need is a midfield that will battle. It's a midfield that will battle. Valverde is your biggest battler. Valverde is one of my favourite players. I think he's one of those complete midfielders around. But he needs to be in the midfield this game to put it on Rice, to put it on Odegaard, to put it on the players who can hurt you. Martinelli will do what Martinelli does, but I understand Vazquez isn't great. Vazquez should be able, with a bit of support from Asensio, to handle Martinelli running down the line. What you need is your best players in their best positions where they can impact the game strongest. And for me, that's Valverde and Jude in the middle together with Tchouameni. Having a midfield three that can rival Arsenal's physicality, that can rival Arsenal's fight. Because if you win that midfield battle, you've got a chance of penning them in. And if you pen them in, you're going to score goals.
But I can't start Vazquez and Alaba like at the same time, bro. Like it has to be like one or the other. And Alaba is a lot more defensively sound than Fran Garcia. So it's like Valverde can convert. Like Valverde can make runs into that midfield, and then we can have Tchouameni cover him. But
now, to be fair, without Partey, Tom, that changes the dynamic of that midfield. To be fair, it looks like he's going to miss the game. So I hear it.
Will, would you throw in Arda Güler?
Does it though?
Yeah, Jorginho and Rice, bro.
You're not going to play Jorginho though. I don't think. I think he'll play Trossard up front and move Mourinho into the midfield.
I think Partey's going to play anyway. I don't.
You know, my manager is a madman. You know he's not going to do that, bro.
I think he will. I think he'll just.
That's what he should do, yeah. But you know,
he'll just grab Mourinho from up front, chuck him in the midfield, get another giant in the midfield because that's what he wants. He wants giants in midfield. Put another giant in midfield to replace Partey, and then just go Trossard up front.
The history of my manager: if something works, he doesn't change it, bro. There's no way Marino worked as a 9 against Madrid. He's going to put him in the middle. He's not going to do that, bro. I wish he would. That makes sense.
It's not a case of he wants to, though. It's a case of he has to.
Oh, wait. Jorginho's injured as well. Okay.
Yeah, Jorginho.
He's got no choice. Who else have we got?
No, that's it, man. Yeah.
We're going to chuck one area in the midfield.
I want to go to the super chats in a moment and see what the viewers are saying. Can anyone on this panel, barring Will, see a world where Arsenal throw this 3-0 lead away? Does anyone think that will happen?
No, come on. I don't know why people are lying to themselves. This is a nonsense. They are 3-0 down. Will thinks their manager is terrible. Will wants their manager out. Will thinks their squad's not great, but yet somehow they're going to win 3-0.
Wait, I never said the squad's not great. I said
fine.
He's relying on Juju.
Your squad's amazing. Your squad's amazing, but your manager is a terrorist and doesn't know what he's doing.
He's relying on Jude, Dave.
He's relying on the Banduli magic.
This is a nonsense. I don't know why we're entertaining this. Arsenal are going to win, right? They may lose. They may lose on the night, but they're going to win, right? I don't care. Mbappe, you ain't doing nothing. Vini, you ain't doing nothing. See, the thing is, and what's annoying about saying this is I'd want them to do something, but they ain't, because it's 3-0. It's done. It's the tie's done. This is a nonsense. It's
yeah, but we said that when Liverpool were 3-0 down to Barca.
That happened once in like
PSG were 4-1 up against Barcelona.
Once in 50 years.
But that PSG Barca one was dodgy.
What about when we were 3-0 down to Ajax in the 65th minute?
You were up against an Ajax team that didn't know how to.
The Ajax team knocked out Real Madrid.
Ten Hag was their manager, bro. Relax.
They beat us. They knocked us out the UCL game.
Yes. Will, how shit was your team in 2019? It was horrendous.
Yeah, but
it's still one of the worst Madrid teams ever.
No, but brother, but they still turned up to our ground and absolutely cooked us.
Ziyech masterclass.
That's irrelevant. That is irrelevant. We are talking here, and I cannot believe you're making me do this to Arsenal. We are talking about one of the most defensively solid, organised, structured teams on the planet in Arsenal. These lot do not concede goals.
I don't like all this. You guys believe in Madrid. I prefer it. Believe in Madrid. Fuck all that, man.
I genuinely think. Besides Atletico Madrid under Diego Simeone, there is no team better at defending on the planet than Arsenal. And you're thinking you're going to score 4 against them.
Inter Milan as well. They're right.
I think Arsenal are stronger than Inter, based on how they're structured. In that once they get set in that 4-4-2 defensive shape. That honestly, you can't break that Arsenal team down. And we're talking about Real Madrid putting 4 past them. A Real Madrid team that in 120 minutes, they won the Metropolitano and couldn't score 1, despite getting a penalty, despite Atleti trying to play a high line to get a second.
Wait, so Tom,
they didn't want to go to pens.
So how many comebacks have you seen in this very competition from us? Like us making these comebacks, it's not like a new thing. Like this is not something that's never happened before. Where we've never seen something crazy happen. Like I don't understand it. Like against PSG, we came back. Liverpool, Chelsea, like we make comebacks.
Against
like this.
What comeback against us?
Weren't you guys up? Was it a few years ago?
We all love a good comeback.
Oh my God,
don't we?
Hold on,
we're
counting 2-0. We went 2-0
at your ground. At your ground.
Like
what are you talking about?
That's that year.
Whether you like
we
it
were
or not,
horrendous. Well done.
Will, what
Leeds beat us that year?
Will, what comeback did you have against us?
The year that it was the 2022 season.
You lost that game. You lost that game 3-2.
No, yeah. Okay, so throughout that, so that 2022 run, like where we beat you guys in the UCL final, by the way, you just want to throw that out there.
Yes,
we lost a game in each of those legs, and then we still came back.
Will,
just in general, that's what I'm saying.
Will, you beat us 3-1 at home. What comeback do you want about?
Come back.
Well, you've never scored against us, man.
Bro,
look, guys, we all love a great comeback story, like Seabiscuit, like the Mighty Ducks. Like the Kardashians, she got cum on her back. That's a great joke because I can't tell the joke very well, but Chris Pratt, that was brilliant. You guys all seen that eight takeout from that film? It's great. It's great. I butchered it, but it's great. Actually, I'm going to go to Super Chats in a minute. I want score predictions now, though. Henry Talks Football. What is the score at the end of 90 minutes? and/or end of the game if the 90 minutes changes things. Give me your score predictions, brother.
Real Madrid will win 2-0 and Arsenal will go through 3-2 on aggregate.
Davidoff?
1-1.
Oh. Tom Little?
Arsenal win 2-1.
Wow.
Kunle?
I'm going to go over 2-2, 5-2 on aggregate.
Willem?
3-3, and then we go through on pens.
So you're winning 3-0 on the night?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Wow.
Big game.
We'll be there.
It's a big
We'll
game,
be
big
there.
moment.
What
my
do you
players,
know
I just
for
gotta back
Teddy,
my
or is this
players.
something that's going to be saved for a special pre-record, the preview, or do we get to hear your one?
No, that'll be later on this week. You got to
Yeah.
save your content, mate. You got to save your content. Got to save your content. Do you know what I mean? It's the name of the game. Viewers would love to get your score predictions for the end of 90 minutes and beyond. Let's do some of these super chats. There's quite a few of them to get through here. Actually, a lot of them to get through here. It says, as an Arsenal fan, I would reserve the trash talk for after Wednesday. Kunle's been very, very reserved, actually, I would say. Even if we are in a great position, don't want to anger the football gods.
We don't.
Will Madrid have faced Arsenal 3 times in the Champions League now and never scored a goal against us? Forget winning, is what Laguna says here.
We'll see.
You're out, Will. According to this super chat, you're done, brother. You're dead and buried.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Will, have you ever played a 90-minute game?
Not like professionally. I mean, like, like with like my friends, yeah. But not like not at like a high level. No.
I agree with Will on Ceballos. People just have zero ball knowledge. Ceballos has been a key midfielder for Madrid this season, getting things ticking.
Yeah, he's been
I just laughed when I heard it because I walked in after putting my kids to bed, and I walked in, and the only thing I heard Tom say is, "I can't believe we talk about Ceballos." It was just funny to walk into that. Is that perfect timing? Pete here says Madrid closing the roof on Wednesday, but I have to ask, haven't they heard Rice cooks better with the lid on? That's good.
I love that.
Never scored against us, by the way. Closing the, is that another one to the gimmick pile? Closing the roof.
Yeah,
The ultras
did that against like Man City, I think, as well.
Yeah,
like,
you did do it against Man City. You did. Yeah. You did. 17th placed Deportivo recorded their highest number of passes on the weekend. They had 60% of the ball. It's over, Will. We have no chance.
Nah, bro. Believe Sagnet. Come on, big up, bro.
Yeah, man. Rally the troops. And I don't like all this
bro,
pro-Arsenal nonsense, man. I don't like you lot being behind us.
I don't like being the victims in these situations, bro. Like, let Arsenal be like the victims. Like,
maybe you shouldn't have lost 3-0.
3-0 down.
No. But nah.
Carlo out. Carlo out. Carlo out.
I'm also just saying, like, from like the fans, like, just like, oh, like we're cooked, it's over. It's like, bro, it's not over, bro. If this was 4-0, then yeah. But 3-0, come on, bro. Like, there's come on.
What are you talking about?
They score early.
If we score in the first half, if we can end the first half 1-0, don't act like that's not a game that can be like overturned in another 45 minutes.
They don't concede 3 goals ever. What are you talking about threes? You've got to score 3 goals.
Have they played at the Bernabeu?
Oh my!
His manager's washed, bro.
Why are you saying, "Oh my God"?
Your manager's washed. Are you sure he's going to set up the right team to do that?
All the time.
Well,
I'm not that in them. Like, what are we
talking about?
You said your manager's washed. Are you sure he's going to do the right thing?
This is what I'm saying. How can you say
Kivior gets sent off?
If he's really washed,
Kivior gets sent off, then it will open the game up.
Listen to what I'm saying, bro. Listen to what I'm saying. With the players that I have faith that in a big game, right? With this is basically our season. It's on the line right here. I have to trust my big game players who have shown me time and time again that in these high pressurized situations, they come through. So why would I now say here?
You don't trust your big game manager.
Oh my God, like it's over. Well, like why would I do that? My players have shown me season in, season out that they step up in these high pressurized situations. It's only probably acting like it's 6-0, bro. It's 3-0.
You're right.
What games have they stepped up in this year? What big games have they stepped up in this year and won?
Man City in the Champions
Yeah,
League.
Mbappe had a really good performance against City. Anything else
And they
against
were 2-0
Barca?
down.
Okay, so again, this season, it's like I said before, when everybody said that, oh, you're a Madrid fan, you're trying to run the underdog gimmick and all these things, because people don't want to listen. See, it's only when it's too late, and then when we lose, now it's, oh, what chance do Madrid have? I said all this already. This is why I want Carlo out, because of how bad we've been. But at the end of the day, it's still these players who I have more faith in, because we just been relying on individual brilliance, and I have a lot of it. So I'm not going to come here and say that it's over. Like, I don't get why you're acting like me saying that we have a 10% chance is crazy. It's not crazy.
Jay here says, think of all the attacking sides Arsenal's midfield and defense have cooked this season. 3-0 Madrid, 2-0 PSG, 5-1 City, 5-1 Sporting, 7-1 PSV. Arsenal will win in Spain too. I'm so confident we silence them, is what JB says.
And that was a freak result. Let's be very honest, right? Arsenal played very well, by the way. Like, they could have had maybe 4 or 5 goals, right? Thibaut Courtois had an amazing performance, as he has all season, saving us. But Declan Rice is not going to hit those kind of free kicks again. And Mikel Merino's not going to strike the ball like that again more times than not. So I got to look at that in isolation. They're not going to do that at the Bernabeu. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, but there's also going to be more space at the Bernabeu, so they might not need those type of chances because there'll be counter-attacking opportunities that didn't present themselves.
Okay. Then I'll just be delusional then. We'll see.
Abraham says here, yeah, my team has been awful. They are definitely scoring 4 past one of the best defenses in the world, but unironically, is what Abraham says here. Henry, don't cook Will. You Spurs fans want Madrid to score 4 goals more than Madrid's own fans.
Of course, I want Madrid to go through.
Based on that super chat, what do you think the online discourse would be like if Madrid win 4-0 on Wednesday night? Do you think it would be the biggest meltdown and the biggest coming together of football fans on social media in the history of social media?
I genuinely think at that point that no one could not be Arteta out.
Real Madrid will believe in the history.
The thing is, if Real Madrid win a 16th UCL, who actually cares? Like, yeah, fair play, you've done it again. It's just your like honestly, it's got to the point now they're so good at it. It's like, oh yeah, they're just doing their thing, which is fair, right? If Arsenal lose a 3-goal cushion, even if they lost a 3-goal cushion to every single football player apart from Arsenal, but you put the best person in each position and they had a 3-goal lead, you still is crazy.
It'd be like Norris leading by 30 seconds, a lap clear, and then writes it off on the last corner, and Verstappen wins the race.
Yeah, I can't write lines off from doing that.
I hear that, guys. I've got to get through these super chats, guys. Just we'll maybe debate that more later in the week, just because we've got one more subject still. Jorginho out, but Partey is seen as doubtful. Thank you, AMT. Partey will be fit, by the way. Pray the general shows you mercy. Madrid will get an uppercut on the counter, and I'll be laughing. This Madrid squad has no character.
Yeah,
is what JB says. Yes, Madrid fans, I suggest you be screenshotting.
If Arsenal score, then it's over. We can't let them score.
Yeah, they score for yeah.
Juju
doesn't work if it's crosses the Atlantic Ocean. Poor Henry, so desperate for Madrid 4-0 win, bringing in Liverpool versus Barca. I can understand that. The only joy Spurs can get in the Champions League. Madrid Int says, never scored against us. Yes, because you're barely in the Champions League, is what he says here. I'll ask again, is Arteta a better tactical manager than Ancelotti?
Today, yes.
Today, not 20 years ago. Today, yeah, I think a lot of people would agree with you.
Like, speaking of what's going on right now, yes.
Come on, only 4 times a 3-Lille first leg deficit has been cancelled in UCL history, and Madrid never did it. Go check. Yeah, the odds are very, very low. It isn't just about winning the game. So this is why I think if it does happen, I think what David said earlier, the conversation surrounding Arteta Arsenal will be massive because it's such a rarity. And they do typically have a very good defense, Arsenal. Rivals say Real Madrid early goal. What about Arsenal? Yeah, listen, if Arsenal score in the opening 10 minutes on the counter, it's over because there's no way Madrid are scoring, 5 goals to win the game. But there we go. Where were the big game players in London and Liverpool?
Not true. Again, the season's not been good, but again, it's knockout stages. It's knockout stages. It's different. It's different. I don't know how to explain it. Like, if you're not a Madrid fan, you're just not going to understand. Like, it's just a little different.
It's like Michael Jordan in the playoffs.
Spurs fans supporting a Real Madrid fan. No wonder we were singing, are you Tottenham in disguise? The match will end 2-0 with Arsenal going through to the semis. Mbappe will still be without a Champions League, is what Pav says here. This super chat actually came in earlier. It says City looking on to move on Kovacic, Silva, Grealish, Edison, Walker, Stones, and Ake in the summer. So only players above 26 are Diaz and Rodri. So extending Gundo isn't bad as he is a proper CM, unlike Nunez. That makes a lot of sense there, Zane. It really, really does. Also, City going all in for Wirtz and Rein. Is it pronounced Reinders? Is it Reinders?
I think it's like Reinders.
I think Reinders is such a good player.
I like him. I like him. Before the end of the show, I wanted to just talk about this today. I can't find the thing, but story has come out that Ruben Amorim was fuming this morning. He cancelled a meet and greet with kids and families for an emergency meeting with the players. That bit was crazy. But it says here the players were given a huge telling off. The players were kept silent. The message supposedly that's come out is clear, that he's basically said, fix up or you're out type thing. Is the manager saying to the players that, the kids thing made me laugh as well, I'm not going to lie. Is the manager saying to the players, you guys either step up your performance level, step up your concentration, or you're out? Is that the right way for Ruben Amorim to handle this, kind of like a tough love? Is that the best way to motivate the players? Or could the hard stance backfire on Ruben Amorim? What do you all think?
I mean, the nice thing with Ten Hag and that didn't work for the previous manager or the manager before that with Solskjaer. So you might as well try something different. I mean, the best part about that is Altai buying to stop some little kid from meeting Kobe Mainoo and Amad Diallo because he couldn't pass a ball properly. That's mad to me. I think Amorim's on the right track with United in terms of weeding out the problems. I think I think there needs to be some of these players just need to simply be told that they're not good enough, and the fact that they're at United is not because they are a Manchester United caliber player. It's the fact that Manchester United have lost sight of what a Manchester United caliber player is. They've had too many people freeloading at that football club for too long who aren't at the required level, and it's about time someone, for United's sake, showed them that it's not good enough. I mean, the last couple of managers were all about having this positive atmosphere, all together as one. Amorim just come in and went, no, you shit. And I'm just going to tell you that. And I know that I can't work with players of this caliber. He's probably the first United manager since Solskjaer, even though I think Solskjaer had a different view of it, who understood the standing of Manchester United and understood the way the legacy that Manchester United is as a football club and wants to hit those standards rather than try and do it their way in their style. So I think it's the right thing to do. I think certain players need to be told that, and I think these players aren't going to listen and they'll get shipped out.
Yeah, I agree. I think I said this earlier on Straight Facts. Other than Bruno Fernandes, you're looking around at that Man United team, and everyone should have a target on their back, in my opinion. I know the young fullbacks only just come in new to the system, but you got to be ruthless. Man United need a huge rebuild of players. Like there's 70% of that squad should be moved on in the next 2 seasons, at least. This summer, 6 or 7 go. January, a couple go. The following summer, and then just give Ruben the actual players he needs for his system. Otherwise, if Ruben does like the narrative at the moment that he could be getting fans want him out, I think he's absolutely bonkers. He's walked into a disaster. Players look like, for instance, Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw's played 40 minutes in something like 2 seasons or 15 months, whatever it is. Yeah. Situations like that just aren't helping the manager, are they? Plus the injuries, losing Xerxes for a massive game against Lyon in midweek. Yeah, I think he has to be ruthless. The nice love, little cuddles here and there from Eric Ten Hag clearly didn't work. You might have won a couple of trophies, but in the league you're still struggling. And right now you're in the pits with us. That just shows how bad it's been. You are with us right now.
We're in a worse. As much as I laugh with some of the things you said, we're in a worse situation than you. because we are a club with so much more historical success. We're a bigger club than you by a country mile. So even if we finish 10th and you're finishing 16th, we're in a worse situation than Tottenham. There's no doubt about that one.
Yeah, I mean, for Man United to be finishing potentially 14th or 15th is absolutely criminal. That is, I mean, yeah, we can take the piss out of Spurs as much as we want, but if no one would really bat an eyelid at Tottenham finishing. Like if I said 10 years ago Tottenham would finish 16th or 17th, most people would be like, all right, it is what it is. But Man United, the biggest club in the country, they need a huge rebuild, and fans they've got to be patient. Like fans already wanting Ruben out. He's crazy, absolutely crazy. The guy's not even had a summer window yet. Like, yeah, I just think the whole situation at Man United is just a ticking time bomb. And the amount of bad PR you've got as well.
Honestly, United need to get rid of like 15 guys.
Yeah,
I don't know how you're going to do it, but
they won't though. That's the thing though, David. Like,
no. I know they won't. Like, it's almost impossible to do it.
Yeah.
We'll get rid of somewhere between. We've got 5 of that squad. I think their contracts run out. You've got 5 contracts that are running out this summer. Okay, Anthony, Rashford, and Malacia are all out on loan. They'll get moved as an example. There's somebody else that's also that looks like they're certain to go. There's a couple of players like Mount's going to be a hard one to move on. Already really strong reports today that Saudi and a few other places are looking at. We're already looking there along that level. I think people will buy Garnacho. Chelsea wanted him. I think we could get rid of, with players leaving for free and sales. I don't think it's inconceivable for 10 or 11 players to go this summer. We won't get rid of the whole
when I say like 10 to 11, 12, 30, however many guys, I'm not even the Rashfords and the Anthonys and all those guys who are leaving on contract. They're already part of. They're not even included. I'm talking about the guys who are playing in the squad right now. Apart from Bruno,
David,
none of them are good enough.
Wait, but David, like
maybe Delict.
But the biggest issue with like Manchester United is, okay, let's say hypothetically they are able to move on like 12 players, right? They don't buy well. Like, so for Man United to have a successful rebuild, they would have to hit on most of the transfers that they make. And I just don't think that they're going to do that, just given the track record of not from Ineos, because like they've just
but this is what I was going to say to you. That's a fair bit of analysis. When you listen to what Sir Jim said, and this is where I'm just going to take Sir Jim at face value, but then hold into account after the fact. So when you listen to when he spoke about the summer, he basically said that the team that's now in place, that's sort of heading up the recruitment and handling everything you spoke about there, building the squad, building the philosophy, they weren't even fully in or actually operational when they had to decide on keeping the manager or sacking him, when they started working on the signings that they were bringing in. And a few of them they brought in, they said for Ten Hag, because they said we were keeping him, and there were players that he said he kind of liked. So for me, I agree with you, the track record's poor, but that's what I'm actually focusing on personally more than Ruben Amorim. I'm focusing on what the recruitment team can do, because I agree with you, David. We need 15 out and 15 in, but you're not doing that in one summer. You might have 10 or 11 go. You might buy 5 or 6. You might promote a few more young players. But it's why I know Amorim said he doesn't want to take years, but it's just impossible to do it in 1 year because we need too many players. But for me, that's been I like this message. I hope this story today is true. I hope that he has told them. I hope that the board are backing him. Man United started making this mistake when Jose was here, when he turned around to the board and said these said players have got to leave, they don't work hard enough, or they're not good enough for the system, or the attitude isn't right, or whatever it may be. When the board started siding with the players, that was maybe the biggest factor in us dropping off, because player power from that point has been such a prevalent thing where they know that they can just down tools, they can throw a manager under a bus, they don't have to work hard, and they know it's more likely that the head coach or the manager is sacked, and then they get a new chance all over again. So I do hope that element is true. But sacking Amorim, look, I thought about this a lot today because there's a lot of United fans speaking about it. I understand some of their logic. I understand some never wanted him. I understand some don't rate him. I understand some think, and there's a comment that came through actually that I wanted to put up that said the question is, why hasn't he got a turnout of them? The interim did. Mikey, this is the thing though. You've got to look deeper at United's history, and Man United fans like to forget things. So United fans turned on Ralph Rangnick after about a month, and the results were terrible. Only for 2 years later for them to all go, he was right in everything he said about open heart surgery. He was right, wasn't he? We do this thing, where we revise the history of previous managers years later when we can see that they were right about a lot of things they said or done. When you also start looking at those managers in the past, they adapted to the players to begin with, so they got a turnout of them. And then when they started to try and implement their style of play, trying to get their brand of football that they were famed for to work, you started getting results like you're seeing now. And there was a fall off. Some tried it year 2, some tried it year 3. Ollie never really tried it as an example. He didn't really have that about him. Ruben's gone about it in a different way. He said from day one, I'm implementing the football, the training methods, the drills, the shape. And we're seeing that. And this is why I trust him at the moment. And he may end up not being good enough, and that'll be fair enough. But he literally told us in his first interview, there's going to be pain. He said for the next 6 to 12 months, we're going to get exposed in games. He said there'll be a lot of suffering, and it isn't going to look nice. And he said words to the effect of, a lot of you may lose faith. But he also said it'll be worth it in the end. And the one thing we haven't done at United, and everyone can debate this till they're blue in the face, and not all of you, Will and Henry haven't been on the shows long enough. David and Tom have been here for 5-6 years now. The one thing that even rivals used to say to us, you need a manager who's going to implement a style of play. You need to build a squad for that style of play, and you need to persevere with that for a period of time. The fact is, we've never done it, right? We've started to do it with a manager at last, and because the results aren't there, the fans still want to see him sacked. And that, for me, is when people say, Terry, what's different this time round? The simple fact that he's implementing the style from day one. We're seeing from the beginning that kickback every manager has got at United when they've tried to implement their style. But instead of it coming 6 months, a year, 18 months after they've arrived, and they've got some decent initial success by adapting, we're seeing it at the beginning. And I just don't think a lot of United fans have recognized that. Doesn't mean it will be a success. I can't guarantee it. But for me, the fact that it's the usual suspects that are turning against this manager to begin with, who have all been 100% wrong in their rationale for sacking our previous managers, not the fact they've got to go. They've all been 100% wrong in sacking for this reason, bring in this type of manager, watch us win. They've said that 3 or 4 managers running them and wrong. The fact that these same fools on Twitter and TikTok are saying it again now, I'm actually really delighted because they're always wrong. But always wrong. So for me, we've got to give this manager time. We have got to build a squad. We have got to bring it again. And more importantly, the quality of our recruitment has got to improve tenfold. Because if we bring in better technical players with more power and more pace, more strength and speed, say 5 or 6 of them, a few more promotions, I am very confident that next season we see a massively improved Man United with a win percentage raising from the 30% it's currently at under Ruben to somewhere in the high 50s to mid 60% win ratio. We will not be the finished article next season by no shadow of a doubt. But I think we will be an exponentially better team over the course of next season. We just honestly need to give this man time and really pump some good quality players into this team. Sorry, Will.
Now, I'm going to say, correct me if I'm wrong, but Amorim doesn't really have that time, right? Because isn't his contract only 2 years? So
I mean, look, he's got 2.5 years. At the same time, though, this is why I'm personally relaxed about it. There's question marks over Ineos and everything that we are doing. The way they have spoken about the situation with Amorim is that they want to implement a club way of operating. So whether Amorim is the man in 2.5-3 years' time, they want to build a squad that the next head coach that comes in can also get a very good tune out of them. So that it isn't every 2.5, 3, 4, 5 years when you change managers, an overhaul of the squad, the system, the training methods, and everything else. They want to create some continuity. And Barada has spoken about that they don't just want to have a flash in the pan win and then no consistency. And that's how you build it. So for me, yes, it's only 2.5 years, but I also think that's sensible. Because, for instance, if we're picking to go in this direction, if you get 18 months, 2 years into Amorim and you think, look, playing nice football, the squad's getting better, but Amorim doesn't look like he's the guy to get you over the line, then you haven't got a Saka man who's got 2.5, 3 years still remaining on his contract and cost yourself 15, 20 million quid. I think it's sensible to do it short term. I really do think it is. And if Amorim can prove that he can get over the line or at least instill that confidence in the board, then they'll renew it. So I get your challenge. But for me, considering the amount of 5-year deals we've given to managers at the beginning of their rebuilds, to sack them 2 years later and pay them off 15 to 20 million pounds each time in compo, I don't want that approach because it's a really tough thing to do to rebuild the disaster that is our football club. And I also think a lot of Man United fans consistently underestimate the shit we're in. I don't think they realize how deep it is. It's awful. I really do.
No, I mean, fair enough. I just think I don't know. I feel like Ruben, like Amorim. So, like, I am somebody that thinks that he deserves more time just because he came during the middle of the season, didn't really get a transfer window, was only brought in one player. So I do think that he does deserve time. I don't think that he should be sacked this summer or at the end of this season. But at the same time, I feel like if things don't turn around, I mean, like massively next season, I think that he could be sacked. Like, I don't think he's going to get that time that he made.
So I agree with you on that. If he gets 5-6 players and we all look at it and go, very good, and we're sitting 14th, we're sitting 10th, we're sitting 9th, but we're still not looking good. We're losing loads of games. We haven't improved. Then there's always a chance he loses his job, which is why the contract relatively short term. The only thing if we sack him that I don't want, and it's been my biggest pushback, again, it's not about why you want the manager out. Someone that says, I really don't think he's a good coach, I'm not even going to challenge that logic. That's your opinion. It's the people that are like, no, sack him and go and get this manager, who plays a different brand of football again. That means all the work, whatever work we've done in the last 6 months, you tear it up and start again. That's literally why we are where we are. That's what I'm pushing back against. It's the ill logic. And Chills here says, why not wait until the end of the season? Well, the manager wanted to because he felt that it would be an easier way of implementing his style. But from Man United's perspective, and this has been, I know you're a Liverpool fan, so you're not going to listen and watch this, but the manager has said it, Sir Jim has said it, the club have spoken about this. Their view is instill it throughout the course of the rest of the season. Yes, you go through some pain, and it's public pain as well because it's real games. But the idea should be from the start of next season, we are far more advanced along the journey than if he came in June. And that's why, for me, I'm giving it some time before I overly judge it based on what they're telling us. And the one thing I would say about Amorim, you can love him or loathe him, he has told us the truth about how shit this would look from the start. He didn't come in and say, watch out, I'm going to revolutionize football. You're going to love it. He literally said, it's going to really hurt. So that's why I don't quite understand the United fans panicking. It's a bit like if you went to, you went to a doctor and he went, you're going to have this operation and take this medicine. Oh, how's it going to make me feel? Well, it's going to cure you. Yeah, but how's it going to make me feel? Listen, there's no side effects. It's almost a painless operation, and the drugs we give you, you'll never know you're on them. If you wake up from that operation and you're in the most excruciating pain ever, and you start taking those drugs, and you're sweating, you're shitting yourself, your hair's falling out, you'll be like, hang on a fucking minute, something's going wrong here. But if you're told it's going to be excruciatingly painful when you wake up and hurt for a couple of months, if you're told there are these side effects to the medication, but in the long term you get better, I don't see why you suddenly distrust your doctor, because they're telling you the truth. The distrust should come if what he's told you is going to happen doesn't happen, or it's the complete opposite. For me, it's actually made me trust. I thought Ruben was being a little modest when he said that. I now come to realize, and then you listen to sporting fans who are like, no, he told us this when he arrived here as well. And the same stuff happened. And you see, like, some people call out Maresca to go 2 seasons running, he collapses in the new year. That's fine to see that pattern as an example. But yet no one is showing any faith in the patterns that Amorim's shown in the past. I just find it all a little premature. Doesn't mean the people calling for him to be sacked in the long term won't turn out to be right. But do I think they're giving it enough time? No. Do I think they've bottled it a little bit early and they've kind of sided with the rival fans and taken the easy route? Because it is the easy route at this stage to say, I want him sacked, I want him out, he ain't good enough. And then if it turns out to be good enough, you can just come and join the party, right? It's a lot easier to do that than say, it's horrible, criticize the bad bits, but just say you're going to give it time. Because I get a lot more abuse. It's weird. I get a lot more abuse when I say I'm going to give a manager time than when I say I don't think he's good enough. It's always a strange notion to that, me. But there we go. But look, I want to thank, there's a super chat here that's come in that says, I hear everything you're saying, Terry, but I don't think you and others understand how bad, how toxic it will get if we don't win on Thursday. That time you said we will go out. The time might go out the window with some people. But that shouldn't matter to the board. The board should understand what he's trying to implement, how long it's going to take. If Pep Guardiola joined in November, if anyone thinks we'd be winning more games than Ruben's having us win now with our squad, imagine Pep trying to play his brand of football with this squad. And he does, and Pep doesn't have like any real in-between way of playing. We'd have lost even more games. But yet Pep's a great manager, one of the greatest of all time. I hear you. It won't yield. But remember what the manager said. Even if we go on to win the Europa League, it's still a shit season. We are so behind where we want to be. I just think he's been so honest with us. I don't think we're used to it as fans. We're kind of used to being lied to by our managers and kind of having them sugarcoat things, but probably barring Ralph Rangnick. You know, the only thing he's probably being professional with, where he's not quite telling us the truth, is what he thinks of these players. But he's right to do that because he's got to try and get them to play for him. If he literally come out and said 80% of this dressing room is gash, bruv, right? They're not going to run for him anymore. So I hear you, Josh, and it will become toxic with some Man United fans. Of course it will. And that's down to them. But for me, I feel like I've understood the deep-rooted problems at this club for a long time. I've always stated it was going to take a long time to fix this. I've always wanted a manager to come in and do what Ruben is doing. So I'm going to give it time. This is what people, when it comes to me individually, I'm getting a lot of what I asked for. But I also stated how many years it would take for us to get back to the top. I think I would be a massive hypocrite at the first sign of trouble to throw all that out the window and just go, Amorim, because it goes against everything I've been asking for 12 years. I get the fans who have only ever said, bring me a proper coach and we'll win the league. I get why they haven't changed their tune. I mean, they're not recognizing that they've been wrong 7 times on the bounce. They haven't changed their tact, but fair play. That's how they've always seen it. So for me, I've kind of been given a lot of what I want here. I need to give it a little bit of time, and then we'll see. If I'm wrong, again, I'm wrong. I'm not going to cry about it. It's as simple as that. Bath here says the talk of how to fix United is used to defer banter, kick the can down the road. The biggest club in turmoil is not news in perpetuity. Look, you can think that if you want. The problem is if people admit that it's going to take 3 or 4 years to get us back to a very good, very consistent high level, that also stops people, as you say, from being able to banter us for 2 or 3 years. If they admit that publicly, that they understand why it's going to take so long. So everyone who thinks we're going to fail, good. I'm glad you will think it, because I do think Amorim will make us successful again if the recruitment is good at the club. So if the recruitment improves, Amorim will make us a very good team again, and I think he can yield some very good success. So if the recruitment happens well and Amorim brings us success, then we'll have that chat in the future, bruv. But we'll defer that debate until it happens. What Man United had in the past, besides the best squad, was they were top dogs in the transfer market, which they no longer are. Yeah, but we've spent more money than City. We have the money in the last decade or so. We have the money to spend. It's been poor recruitment. We still have the money in the pool to build good squads, but you need a set style of football. You need to sign the profiles for it. And we've got to get away from having a Frankenstein squad that's full of 6 players from this manager, 7 players from that manager, 6 players from this, players that then come from the academy that have also their whole lives been taught a different brand of football to what our first team is playing. It's all a mess. It's all a mess. We should all know this by now, especially people that have watched my channel for a long time, and we spoke about this for years. Boys, look, I want to thank you all very much for coming on and having your say today. I want to thank the rest of our viewers for being here as well. We're back tomorrow. Myself and Mark Goldbridge are live tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. So make sure you're all locked in for that one. Straight facts in the afternoon as well before the Champions League in the evening. Gents, always a pleasure to speak football with you all. To all of our super chatters, thank you. To everyone who's hit the like button, you're brilliant. Go check out Dom Hussam's channel. We're redirecting you to Dom Hussam's channel now. So go and check him out, people. And we'll see you all again very, very soon. Peace.